You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How are you, Miller and Moulton, on a Monday after the greatest weekend in the history of the National Football League? I don't even know how it's debatable.
That's just bold out of you early. I don't disagree with you. I agree with you 100%. Usually you're not one to make those type of statements. That threw me more than the fact that you said it. That's not a you. That means something when you say it, because you don't like to do that.
That's how good the weekend was. That's how great the weekend was. 4 playoff games, all decided on the final play of the game. Are you serious? Mark, I thought I was at a pretty good game on Saturday. Upon further review,
I was going to say that. When I walked in this morning, David looked at me and he said, thought I saw a pretty good game set.
You know, 1 seed goes down, underdogs fighting uphill the whole way. Some late dramatics leaves everybody in shock. A franchise that is likely going to take a few big steps backwards because of it. And I don't know, worst game of the weekend, second worst game of the weekend. My goodness. Miller and Moulton, hope you had a great weekend. We said leading into it, there was only 7 games left. 4 of them were taking place. Try to catch as much of it as possible, and then for them to turn out the way they did. Young Felipe, after threatening to head north and go to the Bucks game, did just that. Look at him there. He's got old school Bucks hat, very dirty, by the way.
It's not mine.
I figured that. I mean, you know, they wore those colors before you were alive. And then he's got a shirt from yesterday's game. It says Rams Bucks on it. And hey, who knows? Maybe it's a collector's item because maybe it's the last we've seen of TB12.
Maybe. We'll wait and speculate down the road. There's
Right.
too much good to talk about from the weekend. Unbelievable. And Felipe, good on you for going to the game, for making that call, because you saw an incredibly special game. You got to see some vintage Brady in the fourth quarter. You got to see a lot of ugly, but hell of a football game, hell of a weekend. Holy cow.
And that was just the Rams Bucks game. Oh, my goodness. It's not often, I don't know about you, Mark, it's not often in which, when you have no rooting interest in a game, in which you feel sorry for a loser, especially in pro sports. Like, I don't know about you, I can really feel bummed in the NCAA tournament.
Yes. What NCAA tournament, a college football, I mean, a regular season college football game. There are plenty of reasons when they're not yet getting, and wait,
That was in the
wait. I can feel really bad at a high school game when it's here. But I'm with you in that. Here's the weird thing. I didn't get that feeling Saturday. When it's all defense, I don't get that feeling of sorry for a team that loses, and that's probably on me.
Well,
I didn't even get it for the Bucks and Brady with their comeback, because to me, there are so many, we could factor so many different parts of that game where they screwed up to have to even get it there. But when you watch a game played at a level, to me, that Kansas City and Buffalo were, it's really tough to look at one of those and you lost. Really. That's a son of a gun, because, man, oh, man, I don't know if we'll see a fourth quarter quite like that ever again.
We've never seen a final 2 minutes like that in the history of the NFL playoffs, where you had the 3 lead changes. I mean, that's never happened in the final 2 minutes of any NFL playoff game. And then on top of it, there was the final drive to tie it and send it to overtime. I mean, it is the greatest final 2 minutes of an NFL playoff game ever. And the league's been at this a little while. There's been a few of these. And it's just remarkable that Josh Allen is not playing this week.
We had talked throughout the week, David, and it became incredibly evident during the game that we were watching the AFC Championship.
I mean, we thought so. We thought that this was, the winner, whether they have to go to Nashville or not, they're going to be favored in the AFC title game. And, this is whoever wins this game is in all likelihood the best team in the AFC and is going to the Super Bowl. But at what point during the game did you say to yourself, oh, this is definitely the AFC Championship? In fact, this may be determining who gets the parade.
It felt that way. But until someone knocks San Francisco out of this little tournament, David, I can't reserve Lombardi trophies for anyone.
So you're buying the Niners, are you? They're a resilient bunch.
Until they're done, I'm buying them, if you know what I mean. But I certainly thought I was trying to name the line for the Cincinnati game. I was in a big group text and joined a little late, and and I just said somewhere between 7 and 9, no matter who wins this game. And that was, mid-third when I made that statement. I just felt like I was watching a different class of football last night.
Well, certainly we were watching a different class of quarterback play, and what part that both coaching staffs contributed to that, well, that's obviously up for debate. There were two, how much I like defense. I like games in which defense is a factor. I like games in which decisions that defensive coordinators make are important. And what was remarkable about the 42-36 overtime game was that you could question both defensive coordinators. You could question the coaching staffs. It wasn't just a video game, even though at times it seemed it. I mean, let's all be honest with ourselves. Did anyone think that when Josh Allen threw his fourth touchdown pass to that UCF receiver, which is going to go down as one of the Gabriel Davis, one of the greatest draft day steals of recent memory, when he threw that touchdown with 13 seconds left, did anybody think, oh, well, Mahomes got 13 seconds?
No.
No, it's 13 seconds. The game was over. The game was over. Maybe they'll get to throw a Hail Mary. Maybe. Okay, but, I mean, come on. When Josh Allen walked off the field, you thought there's a new sheriff in town. I mean, that's what you thought. You thought they had done it. They had slayed the dragon. Wow, good for them.
Absolutely.
Vengeance.
I jumped out of my chair. Like, literally jumped out and yelled to no one in particular.
With no rooting interest in the game.
As the game was going on, even though I picked Kansas City, which was the only reason I wanted Kansas City to win, to be right, I was rooting for the Bills because I have more friends that are Bills fans. I don't have any Kansas City Chiefs friends. I have a lot of people that I know that root for the Buffalo Bills. And I don't know at what point I just decided I want all of them to be happy. So I was when you're rooting for a team, but you don't care if they lose. If you know what I mean. Like,
right.
I wasn't losing anything. I wanted the Bills to win, but I certainly don't feel badly this morning because the Chiefs won that game. I feel like I got something special for sitting my bat behind on a couch yesterday.
But then again, from the kickoff right on through the next two plays, I mean, you literally can question multiple decisions that the head coach, special teams coordinator, and then defensive coordinator make for the Buffalo Bills, and credit Mahomes and the Chiefs. They kept it together and they executed. And next thing you know, we're going overtime. And they made it look easy. A lot of jokes on Twitter today about the Chiefs and what they could do in 13 seconds versus what the Cowboys couldn't do. And you got to admit, there's a little difference. Okay, timeouts in your back pocket make for a very different world.
They do, but it doesn't make it any less funny.
But quite simply, the greatest playoff weekend in the history of the league, if for no other reason than this stat. There had never been 4 divisional playoff games in a weekend decided by less than 18 total points. Well, these 4 games were decided by 15 total points, and they were all decided on the final play of the game. I mean, that in and of itself, forget the drama, forget actually what went in to providing it. Literally on paper, you could just take it and put it on a wall and say, I challenge any other year out there, do better than that. Never mind
that one of the 6-pointers was overtime.
Right. And never mind the historic figures that were involved in these games, those that advanced and those that didn't, and the storylines behind all of it. Miller and Moulton. Normally, we line up a bunch of guests, but quite frankly, after such a magnificent weekend, we thought that guests might get in the way, and we want to hear from you. We may do something we haven't done in a really long time, but we want to hear from you. The text line is FSN Radio, all one word, to 21,000. FSN Radio to 21,000. If you're not watching us on Twitch, this is as good a reason as any, if for no other reason, to be part of the Twitch chat room. Okay, you and everyone else watching, never mind, we get to see your comments and react to them as well. Miller and Moulton. Oh, yeah, Tom Brady and the Bucs played yesterday, and they lost. That and more on the other side. Miller and Moulton. Yeah, I know it's chilly out there, but come on. If the football didn't heat you up, you got to go see a doctor.
Look at you.
This is why we do this, man. I mean, sports is this good. Are you serious?
No, your lines have lines this morning. You are just on fire, Moulton.
What else would you rather do today? Of all the occupations in the world, today, is there a better one than talking about this past football weekend that was?
So what you're saying is be the right club
Today.
Miller and Moulton.
We've hit the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, and DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL, still has huge cash prizes up for grabs.
This week, new customers can get on the game and play free for millions with their first deposit. There are only a few weeks of football left, so draft your squad now.
Playing daily fantasy football simple. Just pick your lineup of NFL stars, staying under the salary cap, and score enough points to bring home cash.
And with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes, you'll feel the action of the divisional round like never before.
DraftKings, safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want.
Download the DraftKings app now and use the promo code M&M to play free for millions. That's right. Enter promo code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. Get in the action for the divisional round only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL.
Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. So I'm watching. I just laughed, but I remember her saying it, and I'm like, and I just saw it again. Yeah, they took a really wide shot before they showed the two of them, and you were in the background. I just got a kick out of her. There's Moulton.
There's Moulton.
By the way, after Tyreek Hill threw up that peace sign, I thought it was over.
What's that?
That when Tyreek Hill scored and threw the peace sign, I was like, oh my gosh, is this it? Is it over? Nope. Oh, they were so pissed about that call, that unsportsmanlike call when Sue was pointing at Stafford.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's by definition. I hate it, but that's by definition of what they call now.
Yeah. But
I happened to be listening on the radio. I had to run to a showing, and the announcers, because that's just the announcers are like, hey, they were all over Sue. Like they've emphasized you can't do this.
Yeah.
They emphasize they're going to call this.
But man, the stadium was pissed. I was telling David earlier, I don't think I've ever seen a guy as open all day as Cooper Kupp. He was just open at all times.
So this guy here works at West Bay.
Okay.
He puts these videos on YouTube.
That's funny.
If the Bills win, I was tempted to get him on the show.
How much time do we have?
Minute 30.
It's pretty good in the picture, right? The way it is.
No, my head's blocking it.
Ah.
Big ass head.
Miller and Moulton helping each other out. Dynamic duo. 1-2 punch. Orange juice.
Teamwork there, fellas.
That's how it's done. With 20 seconds left to spare. Ooh, FTCU basketball question.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
20 minutes past the hour. Top of the morning to you, Miller and Moulton. On a glorious Monday, which as a sports fan, you feel as if you were given a gift, if not multiple gifts. You put a lot of time, effort, and energy into being a sports fan.
It's okay if you're a little tired this morning.
Yes.
If you feel like you worked all weekend because you were agonizing over the bets you made, placed, won, and or lost, I get it. I get it completely. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Thank you so much for listening. Tampa, St. Pete, Fort Myers, Naples, Lake City, and now Port Charlotte. Welcome aboard.
1070 the zone, baby. Woo!
So for all of you, if you want to text the show, text FSN Radio. It's all one word, FSN Radio to 21,000. That is your way to text the show. You do that once, you'll never have to do it again. You can follow the show, twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton, where you can actually watch the two of us and comment in real time in the Twitch chat room. And of course, you can just take us in the old-fashioned way on whatever radio device that you are listening currently.
DC in our Twitch chat room said it is so awful for a franchise and city that has never won a major championship to lose in that fashion. He, of course, is referencing Buffalo and the Bills. They did win an AFL title, I think, back in '63, but those don't count as the same. It's kind of like winning an ABA championship. I mean, you won a championship, it's not an NBA championship. You know, when you join the majors. I mean, that's like AAA. In baseball, they call it 4A. There's a AAA player, there's a major league player, and then there's the player in between. What is he? He's a 4A. What does that mean? Well, he's good enough to get called up and play occasionally. He's just not good enough to stick. 4A. That's like a 4A championship. What the Bills won back in the day, and the Kentucky Colonels and Virginia Squires. I'm feeling it, Mark.
Don't start ABA in me this early, David.
I am feeling it, baby. I am feeling it. For those that are watching on Twitch, you may notice that there is a sign behind me. The two of us each have our own little camera, and we televise the show on the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel. So just a quick little story, if I may. So I walk into the booth at Lambeau Saturday, late afternoon. It's a 7:15 local kick, and we got there around 5. And I walk in the booth, and I'm with Joe Buck's spotter, Bill Garrity. We walk in, and there's a Fox executive there. He's probably like 4th highest up on the chain of command. And I'm thinking to myself, what's Jacob doing here? I didn't expect to see any suit until the NFC Championship game. And if you think about it, I mean,
why would you go to Green Bay if you don't have to?
Right.
I mean, it's not a knock. They can go to whatever games they want.
Right. And he's based out of LA.
Right.
Right. So, okay. Oh, hi, Jacob. How are you? He goes, you're famous. I go, what? He said, well, or at least you have fans. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And the crew all points to the wall. And off to the left, I look, and right past the brats is this sign. And it's, homemade. I mean, it's a marker and just some writing on it. And it's, if you remember last week, American tennis player Madison Keys had a really rough 2021 in which her world ranking went from like the top 10 to 87th. And when she was asked to describe her 2021, she called it a dark pit of despair. And so we used that all last week.
Right.
Tried to have some fun with it. We tried to,
we went English soccer with it over and over. Dark pit of despair.
Give up the late equalizer, and they've,
could have been a Meatloaf album when you really think about it.
Really. And you know what? Probably is a song out there. It's about a 7-minute ballad called Dark Pit of Despair. So I look over and it says, welcome David Moulton and company to the cold, in parenthesis, dark pit of despair. And I'm like, I'll be damned. We've got a listener in Green Bay.
In Green Bay, Wisconsin?
Or at least the greater surrounding area. Nick Herring is our listener. And I will say, you know me, Mark, start emailing with people, then now on Twitter, direct messaging, what have you. Nick and I, for a couple years, we've actually tried to get together a couple times when I've, in amongst my travels. He works at the stadium. He works Packers games, and he watches and listens to us. So I, of course, we're leaving, and, everybody's rushing out of there. I mean, when it's time to go, it's time to go, and everybody's freezing. And I'm like, hey, hold on a second. I'm rolling up the sign. And man, the grief I got on the elevator. We're all jammed in. Buck and Aikman are like, that's not crumpling your sign, is it, Moulton? No, Troy, it's not. I'm taking this baby home.
Hey, Troy and Joe. Nick's done more for the show recently than the two of you have.
Oh, look at there. The top rope, baby. So thank you, Nick. And yes, welcome to Miller and Moulton. And with the weather lately, even along the west coast of Florida, to the cold, dark pit of despair.
Well, he may have been prefacing what was going to happen in that game. If you think about it, Nick may be the reason the Packers lost, because he described Lambeau, which it has been for the Packers. It really has not been this great home field advantage. It has been a bit of a dark pit of despair for the Packers in the postseason, David.
And, cold is a relative term, Mark. Along the west coast of Florida, they are feeling that way in Tampa Bay, with the Bucs losing to the Rams 30-27. And I can't believe that the game ultimately turned out that close.
Stunned. I had to run around in the first half. I had some things to do. Life happens. Life gets in the way a little bit. So I listened to more of the first half than I watched.
That's what the radio is for,
Absolutely.
Don't be ashamed.
No. And you know the love I have of
Westwood One.
Well, and of play-by-play on the radio.
Right.
I mean, I think it's David and I's first love in sports.
No doubt.
From our age of transistor radios and things of that nature.
Yep.
So trust me, I don't mind. I actually sometimes feel I can take in a game better on radio than actually watching it, because I'm so laser focused on every word that they're saying.
Plus the Westwood One voice guy. You better be listening to us,
or we will find you and kill you with a rinse munchable. So as that game's going on, in the first half, there was never a thought that this was going to come this way. I mean, the Rams had their way with them forever. And the Tampa defense started creating turnovers, started stripping balls, started making people fumble.
Yeah, I got to admit, I was just sensing, quite frankly, that the Rams are choking. Yeah, Tampa Bay made some plays. I really just thought that the Rams were choking. They were beginning to fall apart.
And it wasn't Matt Stafford that was doing it.
Not at all.
Right? I mean, that was the other part of it.
Not at all. I mean, from the end of the first half, when it's 20-3, and they're certainly going to put up a score of some kind, even if it's kick a field goal. But, Akers runs it down to the 1, only to fumble. Great. Okay. And if you're a Bucs fan, you're thinking, well, that kept us in the game. Then at 27-13, they stop Tampa Bay, and they've got the ball, and they're in field goal range already. I mean, come on. They're going to milk a couple minutes off the clock here, kick the field goal, go up 30-13. This baby's over. Felipe, you could start leaving early if you want. And they snap the ball when Stafford's not ready, and JPP picks it up, and they gain 35 yards in field position on exchange and turnovers. It's like, oh, my goodness.
I'd love to know what was in the center's head there on that snap. I mean, really and truly, because he's, Stafford's looking around. Then a 50-yard field goal that comes up
short. A 47-yard field goal short.
That comes up short.
Right. And, the announcers seemed genuinely surprised also. Al and Chris were not thinking, yes, it was into the wind, but they were not thinking that it was enough of a win to come up short from 47. And so obviously, hey, those of us who play golf, sometimes you only catch it 85, 90%. It's right on target, and it ends up being a club short.
Must have been a little cut, David. Cuts don't go into the wind nearly the same way a draw does. I don't know what to tell you.
But you played this weekend. You hit one.
It was, I had to play yesterday morning to finish a match, and it was cold, and you hit them in the cold, David. Sometimes they don't go as far, but man, 47-yarder coming up 5-8 yards short.
And so, all right, keeps them in it, some more. And then let's, Jalen Ramsey lets Mike Evans behind him. What are you doing, dude? Especially with the clock. You're just trying to give them the 20-yarders. You're trying to get to the 2-minute warning so that it's an onside kick game. Instead, they score so early, you could kick it deep, play defense.
That was a terrific throw by Tom Brady.
Oh, no, he's
unbelievable.
He's maybe the best deep thrower in the history of the league, and he doesn't have the strongest arm, but he has always thrown a magnificent deep ball.
Led him perfectly.
Yeah.
But that should, I mean, as bad as it was to blitz and let Cooper Kupp get behind you, how in the hell is Mike Evans getting behind somebody there? I mean,
well, that was pretty bad, though. I mean, you the zero blitz with
zero blitz
with 35 seconds left. They got no time. I mean, so what? You give up a 10-yard, 15-yard completion. Just tackle them.
And the guy just missed a 47-yarder
right,
short.
Right. I mean,
they need them in front of you.
Yeah. I mean, they need 35 yards here minimum based on what's transpired in the last half hour. What are you doing? Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? It made
As
no
these
sense.
coaches are up for jobs, and Bowles is up for all these jobs. I mean, the first question in the interview is, what the hell are you doing?
But remember, with no timeouts left for Tampa, if you're Arians and you hear something like this, if you want to change it, it's tough to do it. I mean, it is tough to do it. The game is moving. And next thing you know, Cooper Kupp's being tackled at the 12. And you're like, oh, my goodness, we're going to lose.
This is over.
Yeah.
And as bummed as I was for Tampa Bay, I was happy for Stafford.
Oh, how could you not be? How could you not be? I mean, remember, Pat Kerwin, no quarterback has more pressure on them than Matt Stafford. They threw Jared Goff out with the bathwater. All he did was take him to a Super Bowl. They gave up 2 first-round picks and a ton of cap room to do it. And they said, this guy sucks this badly, and this guy's the answer. This guy's going to win the final game of the year. And everybody looked around and said, really? You sure about that? I mean, how good could he be? They never won a playoff game in 13 years. Nope, he's the answer. Okay. Tell you what, looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Some guys just need the stage for everybody to go, I've always liked him. He's a little better than I thought.
And when they're collapsing and it's not him.
Right.
Because we've watched in the last couple months of the season, Matt Stafford become Detroit Lions Matt Stafford again. And as they are completely collapsing in Tampa Bay, it wasn't Stafford. It's everybody but Stafford.
As Fam Forever in our Twitch chat room says, I'm going to have a hard time not cheering for Stafford the rest of the way. He endured all those years in Detroit. Would love to see him get a ring. Hell, would love to see him at least get to the big game. This is a terrible thought, and I don't normally admit to such terrible thoughts publicly. Might be something I would tell you privately. But as the Rams are throwing up all over themselves, and the Bucs are coming back to tie it at 27. And I almost text you this. And I text a buddy of mine this. I said, Mrs. Stafford is going to kill someone. Does that make
Wouldn't you have loved to have seen her on Twitch yesterday during the fourth quarter of that game?
Does that make me a bad person?
No, it just makes you a very observant person, okay. David.
All right.
Remember, you can text the show. Text 21,000. Text FSN Radio to 21,000. FSN Radio to 21,000. Twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. Those are the ways to get a hold of us on top of the now 4 markets that we are in. Tampa, St. Pete, Lake City, Fort Myers, Naples, and Port Charlotte. Welcome to the party.
1070 the zone, baby.
Knew that was coming. The starting 5, one of the things we do every morning at the bottom of our first hour, we will do next right here, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program The Training Grove, with a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, the Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with the Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. You know, and Brady went right after he shook Stafford's hand. The first guy he grabs after that, Sonny Michel.
Former teammate of his in New England.
I know, and I saw it. He grabbed him, and you could just see. And then they got the camera, and he was just keep balling, man, keep balling. I mean, he's a class fucking dude.
I think he is. Did you see what they're doing to you? Okay, they're making you re-up your season tickets by like February 11th or something like that. Yeah. Okay, because obviously he'll likely announce after that, and so people might get stuck having season tickets.
It's a quandary.
It is. It is a quandary, and it's not a cadre.
Right.
It's not an Ismail.
No, it is not a Rashad or a quadri. It's a quandary.
Right.
Watched a little Purdue Northwestern yesterday in the early part of the day.
Wow.
Well, I was trying the guy I worked for in the one break we had of work when I was doing the Wi-Fi stuff. His nephew plays for Northwestern. I wanted to see if he was going to get any time.
Oh yeah,
he's a sophomore at Northwestern. He didn't get any time because I text Pat. I'm like, "Hey, is your nephew getting any time?" He goes, "He got a little bit against Michigan State when they beat him, and this blah 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 blah." But because I thought Purdue with their big,
right?
You know, I thought with all the foul trouble, I thought at some point he'd get in, and he never really got any time. They had 3 upperclassmen playing up ahead of him, I guess.
So I'm driving from Green Bay to Milwaukee yesterday and flying home direct from Milwaukee. So I can get Green Bay, Milwaukee, and Chicago radio. So I'm not hearing a commercial for 2 hours. I'm just listening to sports talk, one thing after another. And Chicago is obsessed with Sean Payton. This report
that he didn't sign his deal, right?
No, he's got a deal. He's under contract for 3 more years. He apparently is MIA. He took his cell phone. He's gone on vacation. He's not answering anybody, Saints included. And that there's a report out there. Now, this came, I'm sure, from Sean Payton's agent, but
he's not happy and
that he wants out. And they're like, he's under contract for 3 more years. We're not going to just let you go coach the Cowboys, get nothing in return. And so his agent threw out there that, well, then Sean may just go into broadcasting for a couple of years. Do you deal with that? Okay. If Aikman goes to Amazon, he'll go work for Fox. Okay. You deal with that. You get nothing and like it. So Bears fans obsessed. I mean, think about their little 12, 18-hour period of time. Packers lose at home. Even
right.
Dick Butkus sent out a tweet that said, the juice tastes a little sweeter this morning. And then, we're going to get Sean Payton.
My buddy who listens to the show, Sonny, you see in here, sent me a text. He goes, maybe Rodgers can only, we were talking about just beating, the Cowboys just beating the East. He goes, maybe Rodgers could only beat the NFC North. I'm like, well.
Brady had a throw yesterday in the first quarter. First quarter or second quarter. It was after he got unsportsmanlike penalty called at him for yelling at the ref for chirping at him. Play after just led Leonard Fournette beautifully, and he caught it like this one-handed, just stuck it right in his arm. It was amazing. I don't know. I was shocked.
It's funny that Brady got the unsportsmanlike, and maybe we'll talk about this because he does a weekly show now.
Right.
Brady does. And I listen to it every week. And last week,
30 seconds.
He talked about, I get away with a lot with the refs. They let me, he goes, I get after them pretty good. He goes, I know they allow me more latitude than they allow most other quarterbacks. Okay. Like he said, I don't think we get calls. He goes, but that I get from them.
Oh, he was saying ugly things to that ref.
Yeah. Well.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
19 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network, ever growing. Picked up another station this morning. Welcome 1070 The Zone and everyone that listens. No guests today. Just want to hear from you. Whether it be the text line, FSN radio to 21,000 if you've never texted before. If you have, want to hear from you after the greatest weekend in NFL playoff history. And if you watch us, take us in, follow us, subscribe to us on the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel. Get in that Twitch chat room, will you? Let us know what's on your mind. Right now it is time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Bucks nearly pulled off their greatest playoff comeback ever, down 27-6 late third quarter. They end up tying it up with under a minute to play, only to give up a long pass play to Cooper Kupp. Rams kick a 30-yard field goal at the gun and send the Bucks home. 30-27. The Rams will host the Niners, a 4 seed hosting the 6 seed in the NFC Championship game. Rams are a 3.5-point favorite with an over-under of 46.5. Meanwhile, one of the best games we've seen in a while. Chiefs in overtime, 42-36 over the Bills. 3 touchdowns and a field goal, all in the final 2 minutes. Josh Allen threw 4 TDs to Gabriel Davis, including what certainly was the game winner with 13 seconds to go, right? Chiefs, 2 pass plays, gain about 44 yards, kick a 49-yard field goal, and send it to overtime. And then they won the coin toss, and the game was over. More on that later on. Chiefs will be hosting their 4th straight AFC Championship game. Bills did not host all 4. They hosted the first 3. They hosted 3 out of 4. One of their AFC title games during that run was in Miami. The Patriots have never hosted 4 in a row, and they played in 8 consecutive games, but they played on the road in 2013, 2015, and 2018. So pretty darn impressive what the Chiefs have done as they try to go to their 3rd straight Super Bowl. They'll be hosting the Bengals, who won their first ever road playoff game. Chiefs, Mark, care to guess the line?
Oh, it's 7-9. I'll go 7.5.
It is 7 to start with an over-under of 53.5, and I'm with you.
It's going to go up.
Yes, I think all the money's going to come in on the Chiefs. What was interesting, by the way, was the line moved a point in the Chiefs-Bills game in the 3 hours before kickoff.
Yep.
All the Sharks who were waiting to bet the Chiefs waited, and then bet that sucker back up to damn near its original line. For the record, home teams went 1-3 this weekend. They're 6-4 in the playoffs. Favorites likewise. Over right now, not doing so well in the playoffs. Over is 4-6. Mark went 2-2 with his picks, getting Cincinnati and KC right. My lone winner was the Rams. Mark 8-2 picking games in the playoffs. I am 6-4. Yes.
I will say I did get the San Francisco number part of it because I did say take the Niners and the points.
You did. That's true.
I had to keep moving it because they went from 6 to 5.5, and I counted on Crosby doing something to help me on that line.
Right. So that makes you 9-1 against the number.
Yeah.
8-2 straight up. That's not bad.
That's okay.
That'll play. That'll make a few shekels. A couple of quick notes in the last 24 plus hours. Defensive coordinator for the Steelers, Kevin Butler, retired. He's 65 years old. He spent 19 years with the Steelers, the last 7 as defensive coordinator. And there's noise out there about Sean Payton, who's got 3 years left on a contract with the Saints, and how maybe he's not wanting to coach there anymore. So pay attention to that. NBA, LeBron with 33, but the Heat beat the Lakers 113-107. The Magic won just their 3rd home game of the year, Mark.
They're awful. I mean, they are telling the Pistons to hold my beer awful.
They're 9-39 on the season. The season started in mid-October. I'll say it again. They won their 3rd home game of the year, their first home win since December 1st.
Against the Bulls, too.
Against the Bulls, we got a bunch of guys out hurt, and Orlando won by 19. Luka with 37. The Mavs beat Memphis by 13. Jason Tatum had 51 in the Celtics' 29-point win over Washington. And the T-Wolves beat the Nets 126-135. Men's college hoops, one upset yesterday. Really not much of an upset. I know Xavier's ranked, but they were at Marquette, who's the hottest team in the Big East. And Shaka Smart's team won by 11 at home, 75-64. Good news, Mark, only 1 of 24 men's games postponed because of COVID. Only 4 of 53 women's games postponed because of COVID. Give it up to the Gators, who have won 5 in a row on the women's side. They knocked off 11th-ranked LSU 73-72. Ioka Lee of K-State, Mark, scored 61 yesterday. That's a Division I record in women's basketball. 61 points in a win over Oklahoma. By the way, FSU won over Clemson, and Miami lost to Boston College. NHL, Panthers lost to the Kraken in Seattle last night, 5-3. Pittsburgh came from behind, beat Winnipeg 3-2 in a shootout. Good one between the Blues and Canucks. St. Louis won it 3-1. Couple of quick hockey notes from the weekend, Mark. Clark Gillies, surprisingly, shockingly, passed away. Even though he was 67 years old, he seemed to be in great health. None of the Islanders from that dynasty was more Long Island than Clark Gillies. He stayed there afterwards. He was involved in every team charity, every team event. He was close to even the current Islanders. They played golf with him on a regular basis.
Larry Brooks, the hockey writer, wrote a terrific piece about broadcasting and covering games in that era and the camaraderie that he had with those players, and just spoke glowingly about what a superhuman being Clark Gillies was.
Clark Gillies was 67. Meanwhile, 2 recent racist incidents in minor league hockey kind of looming over the sport. There was an incident in an ECHL game, Jacksonville, and I believe it was South Carolina, in which a Jacksonville player was mimicking a monkey with a black player. He's been kicked out. And the same thing happened in the AHL in San Jose, and that player got a 30-game suspension. So a couple of ugly incidents in hockey in the last 2 weeks, a sport that has been lily white and has had a problem with that sort of thing for a long time. Golf. I don't know if you saw, Mark, Hudson Swafford shot a 64 in the final round to win the American Express by 2 at La Quinta. It's his second win there in the last 5 years. He dedicated it to his dad, who died in early December. And Danielle Kang on the LPGA Tour, who was winless last year. You could say her 2021, Mark,
was a dark pit of despair.
She won the season opening Tournament of Champions in Orlando by 3. Australian Open, a lot going on, and the Americans are doing pretty well, as it turns out.
God, they're still playing that without Djokovic there?
Yes, they really are. Max Cressy made it to the 4th round before losing to the 2nd seed Medvedev in 4 sets. And Taylor Fritz right now is in the middle of his 4th round match and he won the first set against the 4 seed. There are not 1, not 2, but 3 American women through to the quarterfinals. Madison Keys, no longer a dark pit of despair, Danielle Collins, and Jessica Pagula, the daughter of the owners of the Bills. About the only good thing that came out of this weekend for the family.
Pretty much. I think Buffalo's in a dark pit of despair right now.
Yes, they are, and with good reason. And at 9 minutes before the hour, that gentleman was...
That was the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
FSN Radio, that is the key word to text to 21,000. If you want to text the show, as one of our Tampa fans said, at least I still have the Lightning to root for. Yes, you do. Hopefully well into June.
And hopefully you'll get one more year out of TB12. All of a sudden, yesterday morning, there were a couple of reports going, might be it, including one from Rick Stroud in the Tampa Bay market, esteemed football writer.
I will say a lot of them talked about he was thinking about retiring if they won the last game of the year. I mean, there was a lot to, hey, if they were to repeat, he might walk off. Well, I kind of agree with Nate Burleson, who after the game, before the kick of, or it might have been halftime, he's like, did anybody watch him this year? Did anybody watch that guy this year? Tell me he doesn't have football left in him?
What do you mean, 5,100 yards?
Right.
And, probably going to finish second in the MVP voting. Although if they held the vote now,
he'd win it.
So that caught me a little by surprise yesterday. Tom had always indicated throughout the year that he's feeling good. He signed a 2-year contract. And I think at one point he was quoted as saying, I plan on fulfilling my contract.
Well, and I do think the Antonio Brown and the injuries, I think there was a lot mentally to this season for them.
Yeah.
More than last year.
Yep. I thought it was interesting that Tom Brady does a weekly show with his friend Jim Gray and with Larry Fitzgerald. And it airs on Sirius. It airs on a couple of their sports channels. And I try to listen to it every week because he's actually pretty open. And he takes questions. And people email in, text in their questions and all that. And so Jim Gray reads them off and he answers them. And one of them was about him and the officials. And he said, I don't feel like I or we get calls from the officials, but I do know they give me a lot of latitude verbally. He goes, I'm pretty hard on those guys. And I know I get away with stuff that other quarterbacks don't. So then when he got flagged for 15 yards for running his mouth, I kind of laughed and said, well, they can listen to your show too,
Probably shouldn't have brought that one up.
But Miller and Moulton, want to hear from you. We did not bog the show down in any way, shape, or form with a guest. We'll have a bunch beginning tomorrow. We wanted the greatest NFL playoff weekend to just be out there for you to comment on, whether on our text line or in our Twitch chat room.
Miller and Moulton, 1 hour in the books. Welcome aboard, Port Charlotte. We'll be on the other side in a moment, right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled, marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
We've hit the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, and DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL, still has huge cash prizes up for grabs.
This week, new customers can get on the game and play free for millions with their first deposit. There are only a few weeks of football left, So draft your squad now.
Playing daily fantasy football is simple. Just pick your lineup of NFL stars, staying under the salary cap, and score enough points to bring home cash.
And with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes, you'll feel the action of the divisional round like never before.
DraftKings, safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want.
Download the DraftKings app now and use the promo code M&M to play free for millions. That's right. Enter promo code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. Get in the action for the divisional round only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL.
Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
The Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, roars through the streets of beautiful downtown St. Petersburg, February 25th to the 27th. 3-day tickets are on sale now at gpstpete.com. It's fast, fun, family entertainment jam-packed into 3 days. The weekend is highlighted by the NTT IndyCar Series race taking the green flag on Sunday afternoon. It all happens at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, February 25th to the 27th. Get your tickets at gpstpete.com to secure the best seats.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Nate. Who am I missing? Hey, is that who you're talking about, Adam? Am I the only person that thinks Leftwich is not getting the Jags job? Because I don't think he is. I got to talk to him. Why, do we have one?
Just wondering.
Philly, you might want to go meet the young lady working on the Big Mama show. She's cute. She's really cute. I just saw her running down the hallway in a little cute outfit and said, hi. I'm like, wow.
Mark Miller, wingman of the year. Wingman Miller.
Well, I'm old and I'm married. All I can do is set people up with you and my son now. That's there's nothing else left.
Hey, I appreciate it. Just know that.
I got to say, I was funny. I was shown this condo over the weekend, and these, women probably close to my age came in. They were just they'd whipped it up the night before, and they were all single. I'm like, shoot me if I had to deal with something like that right now.
Nice scouting, Mark, says Klecko.
I don't think he does either, Paul. I think he has no game. I think Philly, when it comes to talking to girls, he falls into the dark pit of despair.
What? You're telling me that you don't think I have game?
I think you have zero game.
Wow. That is laying down the gauntlet.
Zero.
There.
Women like funny men.
I'm aware of that. That's why I've always done well.
You do know that A, you're not funny, and B, you're not yet a man. But right,
that's what I was going to go with.
Oh,
I'm well aware that they like. That's why I've always done well in life.
You're swimming in the deep end there, young son.
You want to play with the big boys?
Hey, I went to the Bucks game with another person.
I know you did.
I know you did.
I know you did. And you slept by yourself last night.
Well, yeah, because I had to be here with you. She lives in Tampa. She lives in Tampa.
Sounds like an error on your part. You dated a woman that's 2 hours away.
We're not dating. But
obviously not. I doubt she woke up alone this morning.
Oh, shut up. Oh, my God. I'm going to mute you. If you don't.
It was a brown chicken. It was a guy who crashed the booth.
Big hair.
So easy, though, guys. You know what I mean? It's just fish in a barrel.
Right.
Tom Brady has been to more championship games than all but 4 teams in the league. And he would have passed the Cowboys had he won yesterday.
So they're at 14?
Yeah. I mean, you literally could have the stat page here where it says Steelers, 49ers, Patriots, Cowboys, Brady, Raiders, Broncos, Rams.
Oh, boy.
30 seconds.
Fun stat for you. Cincinnati Bengals have never lost an AFC championship game.
2-0. Giants have never lost. They're 5-0.
That's impressive.
Have the Dolphins won a playoff game since they've been alive?
Since you've been alive. Their last win was the first few days of January 2000, so I would guess not.
No. Oh, nice.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour number 2 of Miller and Moulton on a Monday after the greatest playoff weekend in the history of the National Football League. That's not up for debate, ladies and gentlemen. That is a fact. 4 games decided by 15 points. No divisional weekend had ever had 4 games decided by such a small margin. And for goodness sakes, all 4 games decided on the final play of said game. Please, if you submitted it as a script, and wouldn't you say, Mark, did each game get better?
Oh, yes. That's the whole thing about, did each game get better? Certainly on Saturday. I would.
You thought the nightcap was better?
On Sunday. I would say on Saturday it was
close.
Pretty close.
Right.
But for you, it might not have been. I don't like those type of games as much as you like those type of games.
Right.
As my buddy, who's a big Bengals fan, texts me third quarter of Bengals, Tennessee, he goes, Moulton must be loving this. This is a slobber knocker.
Absolutely. Love me a good slobber knocker.
Right.
Love me an above average slobber knocker for that matter. And we had a couple of slobber knockers on Saturday. Give it up to Joe Cool and the Bengals getting it done. My guy RT17 did not have a good day. Second one just happens, but numbers 1 and 3, not good. Especially number 3. I don't think he got a lot of help from his play caller throughout the second half, to be honest with you. They were in position to take over that game. 3rd and a foot on the edge of field goal range, and they're trying to trick them. What the hell are you doing?
Who's your running back again?
Who's your quarterback, for that matter?
Right.
Could sneak it from there. Please. Well, for that matter, what the heck was Andy Reid thinking? 23-21, gets down 3rd and short inside the 10. He's going to have the backup tight end run an RPO on an op. What the heck? Take the ball out of number 15's hands? What are you doing? If any tight end's going to touch the ball on this play, shouldn't it be Kelsey? What are you doing? Just line up and run a play. You know what I think I'm going to, I've run this play in a while. Now I think would be a good, they're not going to expect this. Yeah, we're not either, coach.
Yeah. At this point, I don't know why teams don't sneak more.
Some aren't good at it.
No, I know.
Aikman, for one, talks about he hated the quarterback sneak and he wasn't good at it. Brady's great at it. Not good, but great. He doesn't get a half a yard. He gets like 2 every time he does it. But some teams don't like to do it. I will say, Mark, what's a problem now? So many plays are out of the shotgun. I mean, a lot of teams don't operate under center anymore, hardly at all.
Right.
So they almost give away the play when they go under center. You're like, oh, well, they're sneaking this. But 4 terrific games, obviously all close. Both 1 seeds knocked out. That hadn't happened in 12, 13 years where both 1s got beat in the divisional round.
Well, then again, Tennessee never felt like a 1 to most of us.
Well, and they're 0-3 in the divisional round as a 1 seed.
Yeah, your guy had a rough game.
He did. No question about it.
And as in the first half, as Cincinnati's, gets interception, gets 3. Gets a nice drive, gets 3. I don't even have to text you. We're both screaming. Okay. You better start scoring touchdowns because these field goals aren't going to get it done. You're going to lose this game kicking field goals.
And they should have. Game was there for the taking for the Titans in the fourth quarter. They didn't take it. Cincinnati did. I will say, got Eli Apple off the hook. I mean, I think we all hate these taunting penalties to begin with, but when you're up 10 and you get a turnover and you're in field goal range off of the turnover, and then you get a 15-yard taunting penalty, which backs you out of field goal range, and then you don't get a first down, so you end up punting. Oof. 3 points in that game was big. And Tennessee comes back to tie it. I'm thinking to myself, well, Eli Apple's career is on the line here because he's definitely going to get cut, and I don't know who's going to pick him up because this is already his third team. But I think a lot of people excited to see Joe Burrow in a conference championship game against Mahomes. And, man, the good young quarterbacks are on that side of the ledger, aren't they?
Boy, oh boy.
The old guys are on the left and the young guys are on the right.
You know, David, you and I have been doing this quite a long time together, actually, which is remarkable. But as we were getting towards the end of Peyton Manning's career, you know, we wondered, hey, who's going to take this league over? Breeze is retiring. Peyton's retiring. Who are the guys that are ready to take this over? And this league looks like it's in great shape once again.
Well, one conference looks like it's in great shape. I mean, if you think about it, think about how up in the air the NFC is. I mean, the great young quarterbacks are seemingly all in the AFC.
Right. And one of the two quarterbacks playing in this weekend's championship weekend won't be with his team next year.
Right. Right. Jimmy Garoppolo's renting with no option to buy.
None.
But, you know, with every playoff win, don't you think they're getting a better draft pick every time? And remember, every Niners playoff win's killing the Dolphins.
Killing the Dolphins.
Whose pick is now going to be somewhere between 29 and 32.
Yep.
Ouch.
Yep.
Ouch. But obviously Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Herbert, the four young studs in the AFC. Who knows if Deshaun Watson ever emerges again? That could make for 5 if he stays there.
Right.
But over in the NFC, I mean, you got the two number 12s who combined are 82 years old.
And we don't know if either of them are playing next year.
And we certainly don't know where the one is. Although I'm willing to put a large amount of money, it's not Green Bay.
You know, he was getting grief yesterday as I was driving around in the morning listening to some NFL radio for saying I don't want to be a part of the rebuild. And people saying that's not really what you should say. I am getting sick and tired of people in our profession being upset when they ask someone a question, that person then answers the question, and because you don't like the answer, you pick it apart. You can't have it both ways, David. You can't ask for truth out of someone and then say, well, I don't think he should have said that. Really? At that age, would you want to be a part of a rebuild?
And most people did not see the presser that Rodgers did after the fact. On 4 or 5 occasions, he did say, hey, this is on me in the offense. All right. 10 points is not enough. We needed to produce more. We didn't. All right. This is on me. He said it 4 or 5 times. But then they started asking him about his future, and he was more open than I think the reporters who were asking the questions thought he would be at that particular moment in time. Like Brady said, I haven't given it a lot of thought. Does anybody believe that to be the truth?
No.
Right. But, you know, it just, hey, it gets me. We take this topic. We now move it off the table. Let's get back to the game. We lost. This sucks. I'll answer your questions for 5 more minutes, and I'll see you.
And he did say in his answer, he said, you know, I'll start thinking about this stuff next week. I mean, he did say
right
in his answers, I don't know right now. I mean, this is retirement, something, you know, next year we'll start thinking about that next week. But I do know I don't want to be a part of a rebuild.
Right.
Oh.
Okay. Listen, you know, our feeling is very simple. We in the media ask for honesty as we phrased it years ago, the 6 seconds of truth. Can you get 6 seconds of the unadulterated truth from someone in whether it's a 10 to 15 minute interview that we do or whether it's post-game reaction in which they're giving you 5 to 8 minutes? Can you get 1 6-second soundbite in which you go, there you go. There you go. That I can hang my hat on. He or she just told us everything we need to know right there. So they ask the questions and he answers them, and then you crush him for it? I've never understood it. And you want to know why? They're all hiding behind agents and statements, and they don't want to deal with you guys anymore.
And, part of it, I guess, my anger in that is that I was reading that Larry Brooks article about Clark Gillies, the New York Islander who passed away over the weekend at 67. And Larry Brooks talked in his article, says the one thing we knew is whether we were home on the road, because reporters then traveled on the same bus as the team, is where were we going after the game? Which meant where were we going drinking?
Right.
And at home, it was Dr. G's, was the bar on Long Island that they went. And he said, you knew as a reporter, you hung out, you became friends. And on Saturdays, the wives and girlfriends came along. And he said, so my wife and I are friends with, and he talked about one of the other players who he had written who wouldn't talk to him. And he was really good friends. I think it was Nystrom was the player.
No, it was Bob Bourne.
Okay, and they became really good friends. And Bob Bourne quit talking to him after games because he didn't like the way Brooks was writing about him. And Clark Gillies' locker happened to be right next to where Bourne's locker was. And he said, during those 2 weeks, Clark Gillies may have given me the greatest quotes that I ever got from anyone. And I think he just did it to spite Bourne.
And the funny thing that was pointed out in that piece was Bourne didn't stop talking to him on Friday and Saturday nights.
No.
And going out with him and the family and what have you. After games, he just said, listen, the hockey writer in you I'm annoyed with. Okay. But we're still going drinking Friday and Saturday night. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'll talk to you there.
Right.
Because they knew a different era. They knew on Friday and
Right.
Saturday it was said at the bar wasn't going to end up in the paper.
But once again, listen, I understand Rodgers at this point in time has become maybe the biggest lightning rod in that league. And he's brought a lot of it onto himself. So, it comes with the territory. I thought some of what people were saying Saturday night was a little of their bias about Rodgers, quite frankly, showing through. We'll say, though, before Peyton went to Denver, if you look at Peyton Manning's playoff resume and regular season resume, and you look at Aaron Rodgers' regular season and playoff resume, there are a lot of similarities to Peyton Manning in Indianapolis and Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay.
And I really think up until this year, because I thought they got him a defense this year, for the last couple of years, the rosters were similar. And that it was Aaron Rodgers, a handful of guys. It was Peyton Manning and a handful of guys, and then players.
But the Niners won that game with 212 yards of offense. They rushed 6 guys on the block punt. 6. I don't think I've ever seen a punt blocked in pro or college football with only 6 guys rushing the punt. The Niners did not have the punt block on. They had the return on. 6 guys. I mean, Green Bay, obviously, do the math. Take the punter out of the equation, the 2 flyers on the side. Green Bay had 8 guys to block 6, and the punt got blocked. That's really difficult to pull off.
It is. It is. They got a field goal blocked at the end of the half.
Yeah, in which the guy on the end, you always block the guy on the inside. It's a numbers game. There's always 2 guys coming in that guy on the end. You always block the inside guy, make the outside guy take the extra step or 2 and go around you. The timing of the kick is such that he can't get around you and block the kick. How many times do you always see the outside guy, oh, he was close, and never gets the kick? And so sure enough, the big guy at the end of the line for the Packers, he took the outside guy. And the inside guy said, well, I can take this from here.
They're 32nd in special teams.
Yeah.
32nd. For all the great coaching that LaFleur did this year, their special teams was a mess all year long, David, and it came back to bite him in the postseason.
And it was a mess his first 2 years as head coach. He fired that guy and promoted the assistant. Our buddy Mike Westhoff somewhere was smiling Saturday night going, it's about time special teams plays a big factor in a game.
You know what? That's a good call. We'll have to call Mike and get him on this week. Talk a little special teams with one of the better special teams coaches that did it.
And now, where will 38-year-old Aaron Rodgers play next year? Or will he pack it in? Is he done? Which he has hinted at a few times.
I thought he was 40.
No, he's 38. Brady's 44. And they're the two best quarterbacks in the NFC, and it ain't close.
No, it's not.
They're going to go 1-2 in the MVP voting.
Yep.
Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us, Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Trying to hit his disrespect that I got no game. That's fun. That's fun. You don't know nothing. Oh, you guys want to see my hat? Old Buccaneers hat. With this shirt. I gotta show him the hat. And
You're
the shirt.
flexing.
Yeah.
Show who? Show who?
The Twitch family. It's our family right there.
It's our family.
It's our family.
Oh, my goodness. See what happens when the parents leave the room? The kid starts
Exactly.
running around
Just-
flexing.
Yep. It's like when my mom worked Friday nights and I'd throw a party. Listen, we all need to realize Aaron is not going to the NFC in all likelihood.
Yeah, because they've got his rights. They're not going to.
Right. They'll likely do the same thing they did with Favre, in which they said, we will not trade you to the NFC. That's why he had to do the year with the Jets before he got traded to the Vikings.
Because Rodgers is getting traded away.
Has to. He's under contract. If you're the Packers, why would you release him?
Right.
Klecko, there's a ton of names in the Bucks Ring of Honor. A ton of names.
Adam, you're right. That is a good deep sea fishing hat. I go with a Schlitz hat personally, but I like your call there. That's right. I have a Schlitz hat that I wear exclusively for fishing.
What is that?
Schlitz?
Is that the thing?
It's the beer that made Milwaukee famous.
Adam, I'm just going to throw this out there. I think Indianapolis is going to be a sneaky player for both Rodgers and Devontae Adams. If
That's
you're
correct, Tops.
If you're the Colts and you watch this weekend, can you really think that your nice style of play is going to get it done in January? in the AFC? Going up against Mahomes, Allen, and Burrow for the foreseeable future. Don't you think you got to score some points?
Yes. And by the way, it wasn't Schlitz malt liquor, just a Schlitz hat. I'm trying to think, obviously we've already said the two teams in the West, Denver and the Raiders.
Right.
I mean,
well, first off, three of the teams in the North, or two of the teams in the North anyway, are viable candidates. And two of the teams in the South. I mean, put Aaron Rodgers on the Titans for the next couple of years and tell me how good they are.
Titans, Texans, Colts.
Well, Texans are a mess. He wouldn't go to the Texans. But the Colts and the Titans. Browns and Steelers.
Yep.
Broncos
and Raiders, if they do something with Carr. But certainly Broncos. And you got 5 legit candidates in the AFC.
I think the Dolphins could be a candidate. I do.
I don't know if they're good enough for him to want to go there, because my guess is he gives them a list.
That's a great question, Panda, for one David Moulton.
No, I'm not. No.
Really?
Yeah, he had a bad game.
Yeah, he did have a bad game.
In the playoffs, he was a
Yeah.
1 seed.
Yeah.
He threw an interception with his first flipping pass.
It was a really bad game.
He sucks.
Thank you.
He is who he is.
Dolphins.
He is a bottom third quarterback.
No, he's not. But he was not good Saturday at all.
Is he better than Dak Prescott?
No.
No.
He wasn't better than Dak Prescott before the game.
All right, 10 seconds.
But I have to admit, their play calling all day was not good.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes past the hour. We are down to 4, but wow, what a weekend. Greatest weekend in NFL playoff history. I don't know how you could argue it, to be honest with you. And I understand we're all not sitting there and looking up 4 games in one weekend or what have you, but 3 road teams winning, damn near 4-0, which I don't think has ever happened. I don't think the road teams had swept the divisional round before. They'd gone 3-1 before, but I don't believe road teams in the 6 or more team playoff era beginning in like 89, 90, in the last 30 plus years, I don't believe that all 4 road teams had won. And they were 13 seconds away from doing just that.
Which gets us to a spot you wanted to go before the show started, and you led us perfectly there, and that is overtime.
A lot of people unhappy with how the Bills-Chiefs game ended, which is only one team getting the ball, and that basically the coin toss decided the outcome of the game.
Yeah, the only bad play that Josh Allen made in the game, you could argue, was calling the wrong heads or tails.
But Mark, tails never fails.
No, you don't play. It's always heads. I'm sorry. It's always heads, and it's always even.
Okay.
That's just the way you should play the games.
All right.
But
so when you bet the coin toss in the Super Bowl, you always bet heads?
Heads.
Okay. All right.
But let me just ask you a really simple question.
Go for it.
What's your rule, if not what it is? Because I know you've thought about this.
A lot.
So I'm trying to figure out how you want, if you were to change it. And I don't know if you are for changing it, other than I know you want the home team to get it.
That is the only change that I would make to the overtime rule. And I know sometimes people don't like it when I go apples and oranges. If you give me 20 seconds. For the longest time, the U.S. Open in tennis was the only tournament that did a 5th set tiebreaker. The other 3 majors, you played it until somebody won by 2. And John McEnroe was asked to chime in one day. And as a player who had played, by the way, a 5th set tiebreaker in a semifinal at the U.S. Open, And he was asked, about it. And he said, we've been out here 3+ hours. I mean, it's tough to be 7-6 in the fifth, and it's not 3+ hours. And he said, and it also, we got 20,000 people watching. I mean, at the end of the day, we got to end this thing. And so, each player's had 3 hours worth of opportunity to end this. He goes, I'm fine with a 12-point tiebreaker at the end of the fifth set. He goes, and most of the guys I talk to are. And that's kind of my feeling. We had 150 plays, if you include special teams, before they flipped that coin. I mean, we had a lot of opportunities here. I mean, the Bills only had to defend 13 seconds. I mean, I'm sorry. You had an opportunity to win that game. In fact, there are very few teams in the history of football that would have not won that game in regulation, except for the 2021 Buffalo Bills. I'm sorry. Because in my day, the Chiefs would have had the ball or had the choice, Mark, of taking the wind and kicking off if there are some extreme weather conditions. We talked about this earlier. I am of the belief home field advantage, one of the parts to it is you get to determine how overtime starts. You're at home. It's a perk.
Because, and I'm fine with what you've always said. I'm fine with eliminating the damn coin toss. You've taken it one step further, and that home team should determine at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, totally.
Which we would have the home team kicking off at every game and getting the ball at the start of the third quarter.
Yep.
That's what would happen.
Absolutely.
And that's fine. And we've joked that, well, you got to keep the coin flip for one game. The neutral site game they play at the end of the year. It's called the Super Bowl.
Right.
Because there's a boatload of money that's bet on that.
One of the biggest prop bets every year is the coin toss.
Correct.
Yeah.
And with the league now being in bed with gambling, that's not going to go away.
By the way, do you love the ads about the NFL and problem gambling and the people they're bringing in and the commercials and here's the number?
They're just so pitiful on so many different levels.
No, I mean, the disclaimer should be, we don't mean any of this. We are doing this either for legalities or whatever the reason may be, but hope you're buying this BS like we're selling it. And now back to the game already in progress.
So I'm fine with your overtime rule. And I'm glad you explained it, because when people start getting into both teams should have a chance. Okay, they both score a touchdown. Then what? The next team that score wins? Unless you're going to tell me you're putting up a 15-minute quarter, that overtime is a 15-minute quarter, and you play until it ends, and whoever is winning at the end of said quarter, like hockey or like basketball, they play 5 minutes. You can win by 1, you can win by 30. It doesn't matter.
But remember, in the playoffs, you can't after 15 minutes go, oh, well, the game's tied.
No, but you could then it could be sudden death.
Well, and the way the NFL does it now, by the way, is they just roll it over into a sixth quarter. So the drive is not stopped. I mean, if the last play, it makes it 2nd and 6 on your own 31, you pick up the sixth quarter, 2nd and 6 on your own 31. We don't coin toss it again and what have you.
I got you. But if both teams were, if you say both teams have to get the ball, I would rather them say it's a 15-minute quarter, played it in its entirety, than play by some kind of rules where, well, you scored, so now I get a chance to score. I don't like any part of that.
Here's another reason why I do not like the both teams should get the ball. You may not think of it as an advantage because you're getting the ball second and you're trailing either by 3 or by 7. But when you get the ball second, what it is you're facing. You know what it is you have to do at a bare minimum. The team who gets the ball first does not. And the luxury of that is that the minute you get the ball second, it's 4-down territory if the other team has scored. The other team had to run that drive with it being 3-down territory and run the great risk of going for it on 4th down and coming away with nothing, where now they can get beat by a field goal. I mean, it's a decided advantage if you know at the beginning of a drive it's 4 downs. You can call plays accordingly.
Well, it's why in the weird college stupid overtime they have, everybody takes defense first.
Yes, because they want to know what it is they're facing when
Right.
they get the ball.
Do I have to get 7? Do I just need 3? Am I going to even go for 2 here? Yes, absolutely.
So things are not even. You may argue they're more fair, but I'm of the belief, listen, you've had 10 to 12 possessions to determine the outcome here offensively. And for that matter, you've had 10 to 12 possessions to determine it defensively. And as we saw Saturday night, occasionally special teams can play a big factor in a game. You've had plenty of opportunities to make one more play than the other team. It's messy. There's no doubt about it. Remember, it was 13 years ago. It was Tony Dungy's last game as head coach in the NFL. It was the 2008 playoffs, I'm pretty sure. And Indianapolis was in San Diego to face Phillip Rivers and the Chargers. And the Chargers scored late, forced overtime, won the toss. Rivers came down, and I don't even know if they scored a touchdown. I think they just kicked a field goal. And a lot of people were like, wow, Peyton Manning and the Colts just got eliminated, and he never had a chance to touch the ball. And that led to the discussion of, is this really in the best interest of the league? And then they changed the rule in which both teams get the ball unless the first possession results in a touchdown or a safety. But they didn't change it for another year. Because remember, in 2009, the NFC Championship game was Minnesota at New Orleans. And in the overtime, there was a very controversial pass interference call against the Vikings, which set the Saints up in field goal range. They kicked a field goal, went on to the Super Bowl. And so we had back-to-back high-profile playoff games, 2008, 2009, and the NFL said, yeah, we got to change this, where unless they score a touchdown, the other team, and usually high-profile quarterback, and in this case, it was Peyton Manning and Brett Favre, who lost playoff games and never had a chance to touch the ball in overtime. And that's when the league changed the rule.
And it will be a hot topic today. It will be our poll question. We'll get it up during the break, have that for you on the other side. Miller and Moulton, thank you for listening. Welcome to the team, Port Charlotte.
1070 The Zone.
Lake City, Tampa, St. Pete, Fort Myers, Naples. We're all happy that you're listening to Miller and Moulton right here on the Florida Sports Network.
NFL playoffs, and DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL, still has huge cash prizes up for grabs.
This week, new customers can get on the game and play free for millions with their first deposit. There are only a few weeks of football left, so draft your squad now.
Playing daily fantasy football simple. Just pick your lineup of NFL stars, staying under the salary cap, and score enough points to bring home cash.
And with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes, you'll feel the action of the divisional round like never before.
DraftKings, safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want.
Download the DraftKings app now and use the promo code M&M to play free for millions. That's right. Enter promo code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. Get in the action for the divisional round only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL.
Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
And 19 for $131, winning quarterback. Did you hear the young kicker for the Bengals?
No.
What he said?
No.
Oh, there's part of me that wants to wait until on the air. All right. I think McPherson is his name.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
So, the Bengals, who played it pretty conservatively the last play or two after Burrow hits the pass play to Chase. And, that field goal was what,
51, I think.
Yeah. And So it was not a chippy by any
Oh, you're
stretch.
talking about what he said on the sidelines? Is that,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, one of the other-
Okay, he's running on the
Practice
field, looks
kick?
at Burrow, and he goes, "Looks like we're going to the AFC Championship, boys."
I love him.
That kind of confidence.
That's a golfer. That's the, you know, that's the Jack Tiger stories about playing team golf.
They showed the sideline.
This was the atmosphere for the game time touchdown.
Those are decent seats.
That's cool.
So crazy.
I think it was last night's game. Whoever the sideline gal there was, the blonde for NBC.
Okay. Wait, it wasn't Michelle Tafoya?
No,
It was Catherine Tappan?
it happened. I don't think.
Because
No,
it was blonde. It was Tappan. You talking the Bucks game? Bucks.
No.
Raiders.
The CBS game.
Oh, it was
The-
Tracy.
No, there was another one. There was a blonde too. There was two sideline reporters. There was
I thought
Tracy-
the other one was Jay Feely, but I don't know who the other one
Anyhow,
was.
because I just because I think that was her. 'Cause they showed her, and I said, Eve, I go, well, there's another lead. I go, she looks pretty cute there because she's got so many clothes on. She doesn't look so damn skinny. And Eve just looked at me. She goes, I wish you'd post something that says something like that because so many women think they have to be like the, But I mean, Tracy looked great last night. She looks. I mean, she does the cold weather
Yes.
terrifically with
Yeah.
her little hat.
Yeah.
I mean, she looked great. Like I'm like,
And she lives in the Northeast. She went to Michigan.
Right.
She knows how to
Right.
do it.
but the other one had on, a damn near looked like one of those blimp vests.
Yes, Adam. Yes, they were. Right. To save money on a kicker is damn ridiculous. What's he now? 20-0, 21-0, all time in the playoffs, never missed a kick. I have no idea, Sunking Naples. All right. That's not something he's talking to me about.
And even if he was, it's not something David would.
Well,
Say
I
on
wouldn't
here.
say it in here, but no, I have no idea. I'll get a phone call one way or the other.
I mean, he's not just in. He gobbled that kicker up.
Yeah. I mean, they were lucky that the ball bounced back to the
Right.
to
How about Stafford getting lucky on that fumble too? He fumbled it again.
I know. At least,
Oh, wait, Cam Akers fumbled the ball twice.
yeah, I know. Well, if he doesn't fumble the first time, the game is absolutely over.
By the way, I got both of them on video as well. And the first one, the ball just
I mean, look at this.
peacefully dropped there. Oh, yeah, that was crazy.
I got to admit, the punter, I think, is to blame for that block.
Took too long.
Took too long and punted it in the direction of the only guy who had
Coming.
any sort of penetration. He's 43 today, by the way.
Okay. We need some follows today, folks. That's what I'm talking
15
about.
seconds.
We need some follows.
I
If
think
you're
we
in
got
the-
one earlier.
No, we haven't. If we're in the Twitch room and you haven't followed yet, let's follow people. Come on now.
Unbelievable.
Let's go.
Leighton sucking up.
That's right.
Come on.
Twitch family, as young Felipe says.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. Up and down I-75 from Lake City to Marco Island, and as many points in between as, well, we can muster.
That's got to be like a 50-degree temperature difference today.
I will say over the weekend, because my daughter lives in Jacksonville, and the wife went up to visit her, And I just noticed that there was a 30-degree temperature difference between Southwest Florida and Jacksonville. Not often in the same state you have a 30-degree temperature difference on a Saturday afternoon. Just thought that was like, you don't see that every day. I understand north to south, it's a fairly big state and all, but I mean, damn. That's a degree for about every 10 miles.
Sounds about right. That sounds about right. We've got the poll question up.
What is it?
It's about overtime because that's what you told me to do.
Well, because apparently the peeps are bent out of shape, Mark.
Do you think overtime rules should be changed and that both teams should get the ball? It's that simple. Yes, both teams get the ball. No, keep it the same.
I'm fine. By now, you know the only change I would make. And you're okay. This is something that I've you're willing to come to my side on this?
First off, I never had a side. And,
right.
And when you explained this wasn't a playoff thing for David. This is every game, home team determines. It just makes the ultimate sense because, David, you and I have been on the same page with home field advantage has been dwindling in every sport. As we've been doing this for about 15 years. And in the time that we've done it, we have watched home field, home ice, home court advantage basically disappear in sports. With the exception, we still believe that regular season college hoop, that there is a distinct advantage to playing at home.
Yeah, because you get calls.
You get calls. You got fans on top of you. They're a little bit younger. We think that's the one atmosphere that can make a determination on a game. We don't think there's anyone out there left.
So that's the poll question. At that Mark Miller, at the David Moulton. Should overtime stay the same or should each team get the ball once? And obviously in the wake of a great game and the Chiefs win the toss, they drive down, they score a touchdown. I think after the last 2 minutes when there were 3 touchdowns and a field goal scored, I think we all knew walking out for the coin toss, well, this is the game. Whoever wins this right here, probably going to win the game. Neither one of these defenses have anything left, that's for sure. And sure enough, that's what happened. And so people are disappointed in that. And so they want change.
I saw a writer from Ohio that I follow on Twitter say it's like a heavyweight title fight with one extra round and one fighter couldn't throw any punches. You can spin this however you want.
Yep.
They did give up a field goal with 17 seconds left in the damn game.
13
seconds. I'm sorry.
Right.
17 seconds. The Cowboys might still be playing. 13 seconds.
Right. 13 seconds. And we haven't gotten into the nitty-gritty of that, by the way. I'll say this. I think Leslie Frazier and Sean McDermott let Todd Bowles off the hook this morning. My goodness. I mean, the zero blitz in the Tampa Rams games I thought was malpractice. And then you got the final 13 seconds at Arrowhead. And they said, hold my beer when it comes to malpractice. First things first. And and for the record, those that wonder, what is it that I do in a broadcast booth? It is exactly these situations as to why I have a job. I mean, this is the Bills score and they go up and because it's what I'm supposed to do, whether it was Troy or whether it would be Gary, I would say, kick it deep or squib. All right. My job is to, if they're not already thinking, is to make sure they keep thinking ahead. What do you do here? Kick it deep or squib it? You can make a real case for both. If you squib it, the likelihood is time is going to come off the clock. 3-4 seconds, perhaps, if they really try to run it back. Well, then with 9 or 10 seconds left, they may only have time for one play, and then they have to Hail Mary it or kick it. As opposed to 13 seconds left with all 3 timeouts, they can run 2 plays here in all likelihood. Big difference, 1 play or 2. But you are squib kicking it and putting it in the hands of a fast, talented player. Something could horrifically go wrong.
Your special teams are the worst in the league.
Well, Green Bay's is.
Right,
but,
no.
But I'm talking Buffalo.
Buffalo, sorry, yeah.
And hey, doesn't take much. And next thing you know, they have a return and they're out to the 40. And there's 8 seconds left. And then you're going, what'd you do that for? You got to get it to the end zone. So on the kickoff, I can give McDermott a break. I cannot give him and Leslie Frazier any breaks at all for the next 2 plays. Asinine, actually. I mean, just does not make any sense. Why, with that little time left, would you give any receiver a free release off the line of scrimmage? It makes no sense to me. I mean, when the Chiefs lined up, they looked at the Bills' defense and they said, well, we got at least 15 yards here. Why would you give them 15 yards that easily? Why? This wasn't Dallas and the Niners when Dallas didn't have any timeouts. Chiefs had all 3 timeouts. They completed that pass. He had 2 blockers right in front of him. You don't have a defender within 10 yards. I mean, you might as well commit, honestly, you might as well commit a personal foul. So that I didn't understand at all.
All right, let me just play the other way. Are you susceptible to a deep ball if you're going to be putting everybody at the line? Are you just still too deep safety and putting everybody up on the line? I'm asking the other side of it, because if I'm listening to you right now and you're explaining that, it makes great sense. I want to see the other side of it, though. What is it that they're thinking by giving that space? Are they more afraid of the deep ball? I mean, what do you think's going through the D coordinator's mind that he's set up in that position?
I'll be honest with you, Mark. I have no idea what they were thinking. I'm guessing what they were thinking is, we'll give them 15 yards and let them run a play for 5 or 6 seconds. And they gave them 19 yards in a play that took 5 seconds. Got to remember, the Chiefs kicker can kick it from 55. Right. All right, and there was virtually no wind. And I understand that he missed an extra point and he missed a field goal. But that guy's got a leg. He's got one of the 5 best legs in the league. If they get to about the 43 or 45-yard line, he's going to attempt a 60-plus yard field goal. And he can get it there. I mean, remember Justin Herbert's first start in the NFL, Chargers Chiefs. Now, granted, it was SoFi and all that, and then the conditions were a little tougher yesterday. But, I mean, he drilled like a 59-yarder at the gun, and he had plenty of room to spare. This guy's got a leg. You gotta make sure he doesn't step on the field, is what I'm thinking. I mean, they get to midfield and they can throw a Hail Mary. That's one thing. I cannot let this kicker step foot on the field, because I got a 1 in 3 chance at best to go in overtime, I think, if he's on the field. And then with 8 seconds to go, and it's difficult for me to listen to a Tony Romo game. He's screaming the whole time. I can't make out half of what he's saying, and it drives me nuts. And I often have the television muted. But I thought he did make an excellent point down the stretch in which he's like, why are they rushing 4? You could actually make the case, why are you rushing anybody? Mahomes is not going to hold on to the ball very long here.
Right.
I mean, he's got to get it off quickly. They got to get what they can and call timeout. I mean, what are the odds that you're going to get to Mahomes? Not good, especially since you haven't gotten to him all day. I mean, you could make the case actually of rushing no one. And then this way, there's not a part of the field that you can't defend. You can jam receivers at the line, you can defend the sidelines, and you can have 3 safeties playing thirds. I mean, if you got 11 guys. So I had no idea what they were doing. None. I'll defend the kick through the end zone because something could horribly go wrong. And also sometimes on a squib kick, you accidentally kick it out of bounds. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, although I would have squibbed it, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. With all honesty, Mark, you should be able to defend 13 seconds.
There's no doubt. But that's why I kind of, when you make those comments, I want to really hone in on it, because it's what we do here.
I mean, if you give up 2 15-yard pass plays and they call their 2 timeouts, they're attempting a 63-yard field goal. And instead, they attempted a field goal of less than 50 yards. Holy mackerel. I mean, I'll be brutally honest. If I was running a team and Leslie Frazier was on my interview list, I would cancel the interview. I would just go, well, we can't hire him. I mean, seriously, can't hire him. What are we going to do? We hire him? What do you think the opening press conference is going to be like? You just hired a guy who allowed them to go 44 yards in 10 seconds and kick the tying field goal. Are you serious? I mean, literally, all those of us in the room could have put a better defense on the field. You just hired this guy to be your head coach? Couldn't do it. Cancel the interview. He'll know why.
Well, I trust me, those talking to Todd Bowles could be asking the same questions today.
Don't
with
disagree.
the season on the line, you run a zero blitz.
Makes no sense. You don't need to force a turnover here. If anything, you need to let them catch the ball in the middle of the field for 15 yards and tackle them. I'd rush 3 before I'd rush 6.
And it's not like Cooper Kupp wasn't getting behind you the whole game anyhow.
Right. I mean, there's no mystery as to who they're going to throw it to here. I mean, it's one of 3 guys.
One of the great. I thought it was Emmy-esque television, David. They have that shot right behind Stafford, basically showing you the drone shot there of showing you his eyes. And he was looking at Kupp the whole damn time.
Yeah. Well, you know why? Because the blitz was coming off Kupp's side. By the way, Matthew Stafford, and it's not like teams don't know this, the single best quarterback in the NFL against the blitz this year. Say it again slowly. Season on the line. Now, I know you like the blitz, but he's the best quarterback in the league against the blitz this year. You going to play into their hands? Why would you do that? And there's no need to do it.
None. That's the other. None whatsoever. Like you said, all you need them to do is catch the ball 10, 15 yards in front of you, tackle them in the damn field. That's it.
Back to the Bills-Chiefs for a second. Rockford Randy in our Twitch chat room. And Rockford, I'm all for this. If you're the defense in that situation, mug every receiver at the line. Hell, I tackle them. It's only a holding penalty. It's 5 yards. Go back a few years ago. Alabama and Clemson are playing the national title game. The first one that Clemson won. And it came down to they had the ball on like the 2-yard line, 1.5-yard line, something like that. And they had time for one play. And I remember thinking to myself, first off, Nick didn't call a timeout. And secondly, I'm like, you grab everybody here. You tackle everyone. Everyone. You just tackle them. So they move it half the distance of the goal. There's 1 second left. If Clemson wants to risk, because Clemson was trailing, if Clemson wants to risk the entire national championship from the 1, I got no problems with that. I am not getting beat on a pick play because I'm tackling everyone. And if I were the Bills yesterday, instead of allowing free releases, I would have grabbed everyone. It's only 5 yards. It could not be pass interference. And besides, I'm tackling them within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage.
Right. If it is pass interference, it's a spot foul. And
right.
You're,
there you
again,
go.
5 yards from the line of scrimmage.
And I'm not playing around here. I would tackle. And in fact, I would tell the officials, just so you know, as soon as they come off the line, we're tackling everybody. You could throw 7 flags. We're fine with that. They're all 5 yards, by the way. And you can only enforce 1. It's like in basketball. Teams tell the officials, we're going to foul here. We're going for the steal, and if we don't get it, we're going to foul. Because they want to let the officials know. There's no doubt here as to what we're doing. We're fouling. If it looks like a foul to you, it is.
I love this Moulton.
Well,
Moulton loves defense. He got 2 great defensive games, and then defensive coordinators decided to take the end of the next 2 games off.
Did you see who was it guarding the ankles that were destroyed? Gabriel
Davis. Yeah.
Yes, his 3rd touchdown, the ankle breaking move that he had.
Yeah.
He torched
Ridiculous.
him.
Hughes fell down for the Chiefs.
Yeah. That was embarrassing.
Right. That's why you tackle guys if you can, by the way, especially in that game. Wait, you want me to cover these guys? No, I'll tackle them instead. I can do that. Run with them? Can't run with them. Tackle them? I can tackle them. Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
The Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, roars through the streets of beautiful downtown St. Petersburg, February 25th to the 27th. 3-day tickets are on sale now at gpstpete.com. It's fast, fun, family entertainment jam-packed into 3 days. The weekend is highlighted by the NTT IndyCar Series race taking the green flag on Sunday afternoon. It all happens at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, February 25th to the 27th. Get your tickets at gpstpete.com to secure the best seats.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Sorry about that. I forgot how to speak English for a second.
As for costing Bowles a head coaching opportunity, I don't know how many interviews there are left, but and I will say, Gator Nation, I know I made light of it. Calling defensive signals is very different than being a head coach. You know, but yes, I think it's difficult for me to see Bowles getting a job now this year. Well, not only the Legion of Boom, quite frankly, like the Patriots back in the day. I mean, they grabbed the Colts receivers, the Rams receivers. They just looked at the officials like, you can call a flag on every play? I don't think so.
Some of the trending tweets about that ankle breaker was, good Lord, do you want to see a dead body? I mean, he tumbled him.
Hey, did you stop and get a John Smith sub yesterday?
No, they have John Smith in Tampa.
Yes.
Yeah, Largo, right?
Damn it.
Isn't it Largo?
I did not bring my big mouth to John Smith subs, and I did not indulge in their overstuffed subs with.
Oh, so I'm
Best
getting
quality
I'm
ingredients.
getting that they're absolutely phenomenal. My buddy says ate it for 4 straight days on the other coast last summer, and they have a drive-through as well.
Wow.
I mean, David, a sub shop with a drive-through. That's
Wow,
that's talking dirty
right
to you right there, isn't it?
That is pornographic.
Power plays. Man, if they open a Jersey Mike's with a drive-through.
That is so, David, I thought the whole time that sign was someone put it in, like it got to your room. I did not realize it was in the booth.
In the booth.
For everyone to see.
Right.
That's
Apparently he put it in there Friday.
well, because he probably couldn't get in there on
Right,
Saturday.
sure.
Oh, it was there when you got
It was in the
there.
booth.
Walked in the booth.
Wow.
It's phenomenal.
That is amazing. See, I thought it was just a fan, like under you, like, hey, David. That would have been cool.
Oh, Joe had to be all over you. Who
He
was
didn't
all-
see it. He was last one in the booth,
Okay.
even though he got there the day before. But oh no, the whole crew. Okay, Jacob, the Fox exec. All right,
Just
Aikman,
all over you.
all over me.
Aikman all over you?
Yeah. He goes, Moulton, you've got groupies everywhere. I go, just trying to be part of the team, Troy.
Yes, Troy, the only difference is that my groupies are old, fat,
Right,
mad.
middle-aged white guys.
Right.
Right.
So there's a new season of Billions
Yeah. Oh, really?
coming, but it doesn't look like it has Axe.
No, he's done.
Right.
Right. It's ridiculous to me. It's the Cosby Show without Bill Cosby. I don't.
It's like The Office without Michael Scott.
Yeah.
10 seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the top of our 8 o'clock hour, and from Lake City to Marco Island and all points in between along the I-75 corridor. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. And a week after welcoming folks in Lake City, we say hello to everybody on 1070 The Zone on that hot rockin' flame-throwing AM from Port Charlotte all the way up to Venice. It's a very strong signal, damn near from the Caloosahatchee to Venice. So welcome to everyone listening.
And several rivers in between there.
Darn right. Poll question. Boy, got people all worked up. That Chiefs-Bills game ending without Josh Allen and the Bills getting a chance to touch the ball. Although you could argue they had a chance to touch the ball. It would have been, playing defense. Hello? Do you think overtime rules should be changed and that both teams should get the ball? Yes? No. Yes, nearly 2-1 in the early voting. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton on Twitter. For the record, the two of us are no, right?
No, I'm a for sure no. I 4 quarters. We don't need to. Both teams do not need to get the ball in overtime. I'm not part of that.
And the only change I would make is I'd eliminate the coin toss. Home teams gets to decide. It's part of the benefits of being at home. And you play for home field advantage. What advantage do you get? Just the fans being there? Please. Crowd noise. I mean, how often do you see crowd noise impact these games anymore at the highest level? I mean, young quarterbacks, regular season, maybe. But by the time we're in the playoffs, please, silent count. Right.
I mean, outside of the Rams having trouble with home games.
Right. When they had to go to a silent count against the Niners.
Which they'll have to do again
Yes,
for the
they
NFC
will.
Championship game because it will be a home game for the road team.
Yes, it will. Be a lot of red in that stadium. They're already trying to do everything they can. I don't know how they're going to do it. I mean, obviously, the San Francisco fans, most of them are in state. So what are you going to do? Limit it to only 3 area codes? I guess you could buy tickets.
Good luck with that.
$600 cheapest ticket right now, by the way, to get into the Rams-Niners game.
I will tell you, as someone who has season tickets for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and doesn't attend a lot of games, tickets were not expensive for yesterday's game at all.
Now, the Rams are not a thing.
Well, it also shows me that the Bucs fandom isn't really what I thought it was.
Which is interesting because it was only their second home playoff game in 14 years.
I mean, I had to lower those prices several times just to get rid of them. Put it this way, Sunday morning, I was half contemplating going to the game.
Well, you know what I'm wondering? If you had held on to them. So you held on to them till Sunday morning.
Well, I didn't try to.
Well, but I say that because my thought is after the Packers lost, I thought that they might go up.
I did too.
Because now you're thinking, oh, we got a chance to host all the way through.
I did too.
But Niners, Rams in Los Angeles, the 4 seed hosting the 6. I mean, you got to remember how this playoff run began for the Niners. It began week 18. They're losing by 7 with under a minute and a half to play, and they got to go nearly 90 yards with no timeouts. And Jimmy G obviously got it done, and they won in overtime. And now they've beaten Dallas and Green Bay, and here they are playing the Rams. Home away from home, A, and B, they own the Rams. They've won 6 straight against the Rams. I mean, that's 3 years. They have not lost to Sean McVay and the Rams in 3 years. It's not like the Rams have sucked.
Well, and I think you just kind of look at this postseason and go, all right, well, the Rams beat Tampa earlier in the year. And outside of trying to choke the game away, had that game won 6 different ways yesterday. We knew the Niners gave the Packers a lot of trouble. Oh.
Remember, Green Bay won at the gun
Right.
on a 51-yard field goal when the Niners took the lead with 37 seconds left in the regular season meeting. And Aaron Rodgers was 0-3 against the Niners in his playoff career, now 0-4. And it is interesting since the Niners drafted Alex Smith instead of Aaron Rodgers. And obviously, we all think Aaron Rodgers is a far superior player to Alex Smith. But the Packers have been to 1 Super Bowl since drafting Aaron Rodgers. And the Niners have been to 2. And Rodgers is 0-4 against the Niners in the playoffs. I mean, he is the superior player, but it is a team game after all.
Rams are a 3.5-point favorite. Chiefs are a 7-point favorite. I think both these lines are going to change significantly. I think if you want to bet the Niners, wait, or bet it now rather, because I think that line's going to end up being closer to 2 when it's all said and done.
The only reason why I think the line could hold is San Francisco on the injury front. I mean, let's face it, Deebo Samuel. I mean, 2 different injuries in that game, and they need him at 100%. No question about that. I mean, he's become their running and their passing game. I mean, he's like Josh Allen.
Right. He is the running game.
And he's got a little help from Kittle in the passing game, and that's about it.
But you're right.
So maybe that line holds steady. You and I both believe Cincinnati, Kansas City, starting at 7, could get up to the 9 range. Over under a 53.5 in KC. So they're basically saying 30-23. Chiefs, that seems a little low to me. San Francisco and the Rams, they're saying 46.5. So what are we talking? 24-21, just a smidge over that is what they're saying for the Rams. And I agree with that one. The game they played, the regular season anyway, just 3 weeks ago, it went to overtime tied at 24. And the Niners kicked the field goal and ended up winning at 27-24. So there you have it. But Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, Tom Brady and the Patriots, in an epic Josh Allen and the Bills, all sent packing in the divisional round.
And for the Bucs and the Packers, what is next? For the first time with Tampa Bay, stories coming out yesterday that maybe Tom Brady is not coming back, that maybe this is it. He's contemplating retirement, which I think anybody in their right mind has to at least have thought about when you're that age playing that position. I think this year mentally took a lot more out of Tom than last year did.
Well, it was certainly harder. They had a lot more injuries. And, last year it was more of a grind early.
Yes.
Everything was new and getting used to everybody and all that. But then it started to click and they got on a roll. There were very few rolls this year, even though they posted a 13-4 mark and were damn near the 1 seed. But there were very few rolls. Even when they won, sometimes it was a real struggle. A lot more injuries this year. It was a lot harder. Listen, these players, these coaches, I mean, they're spent. And when it ends, it is just, it guts them. Absolutely guts them. And I hope everybody who's contemplating a big decision takes a few weeks. Get away. Pull a Sean Payton.
Right.
Just turn your cell phone off.
By all accounts, Sean Payton has gone MIA and has just shut the phone off and is not taking calls from anybody. Something I think all of us wish we could do for a couple of weeks in our lives.
Once, right? Once in the next 10 years, I'd love to be able to do that. That'd be amazing. But Miller and Moulton, 2 ways to contact us. We didn't want to book any guests today. We wanted to hear from all of you after the greatest playoff weekend in NFL history. Your thoughts, your reaction to it. And it could be gut-wrenching. If you're a Bucs fan, let's face it, You went through a rough stretch. It was a rough decade. And if this is, in fact, it for Tom, and there's a lot of other veterans that they have, none of us expect Arians to hang around very long once number 12 hangs it up. We think he's only there to contend for Super Bowls, and otherwise, I think turn it over to Todd Bowles, to be honest. If Todd doesn't get another job, I think Bruce, whenever the time comes, would say, you're still here? Fine, this is your gig. Good luck.
As David said, you can text the show. Text, the keyword is FSN Radio. Do that once to 21,000, and then you can text to your heart's desire. We did get this text answering the poll question. No to both teams touching the ball. Unfair advantage for the first team. See, we actually think it's an unfair advantage to the second team.
Right. I mean, yes, they could be trailing, but they then have 4 downs, and they know they have 4 downs, and they could call plays accordingly. And they also know what they're facing. There is no risk. I mean, you know what you're facing. You at least have to meet that minimum requirement. There's risk with the first team that gets the ball. Do I go for it here? Because if I get stopped, I can lose on a field goal. And if I punt, I may never get the ball back. So we think there's much more at play for the first team. The second team, it seems kind of obvious.
This texter says Packers have had 50-plus years of Hall of Fame quarterback play and have 2 Super Bowls to show for it. That's crazy.
Well, it's
not 50, but
it's 30.
It's 30.
It is remarkable, though. It's not just that they only have 2 Super Bowls, because, winning the Super Bowl, I mean, that's pretty much a toss-up game every time.
Right.
It's the fact they only got to 3. And really, Mark, they've only gotten to 1 in damn near a quarter century. Remember, Favre's Packers group went to the 96 and 97 seasons. They went to back-to-back Super Bowls. Won the first, got beat in the second. So since the 1997 season, 24 seasons of Favre and Rodgers. And Favre played for you for 10 more years. 24 seasons with Hall of Fame quarterback play. And you guys got to 1 more Super Bowl. Now, the quarterbacks are going to take the brunt of that. But there are a lot of people who are Packers fans who have questioned the general managers during that 24-year time, going, you couldn't have put better players around them? I mean, really? I mean, how much more did you have to do? Do you know the advantage we had over most of the rest of the league? I mean, think about it. Tampa Bay's gone to 2 with a whole lot of losing in between.
Right.
They went to 2. You went to 1.
How many did your Giants go to in that time?
5. Well, no, 3.
3.
Yeah, 1-2.
Right.
Huh? With a quarterback who apparently was a bum. That's all I've heard for the last 7 years. He's a bum. Okay. You say so. Just don't know what to tell you. Went to Lambeau, beat both of your Hall of Fame quarterbacks in playoff games, but apparently he can't suck enough. All right, we'll take another one. Look just like him, by the way. We've seen what life is like after him. We'd love the bum back for 10, 12 more years. Hell, at this rate, we take him back in his 40s, the way they're getting quarterback play nowadays. But I digress. We'll have plenty of time to talk about where Rodgers, Brady, Wilson, Watson, Jimmy G, where it is that they are going to end up. When we come back, I have an analogy for all of the Bills fans that are just hurting today. I have an analogy. You tell me if you feel it is accurate.
Always love a good analogy in the morning.
Miller and Moulton.
That come with bacon and that toast too?
Well, as Dick Butkus said after the Packers lost, the juice tastes a little sweeter this morning. Comes with at least juice, Mark. 15 after the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. We've hit the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, and DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL, still has huge cash prizes up for grabs.
This week, new customers can get on the game and play free for millions with their first deposit. There are only a few weeks of football left, so draft your squad now.
Playing daily fantasy football simple. Just pick your lineup of NFL stars, staying under the salary cap, and score enough points to bring home cash.
And with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes, you'll feel the action of the divisional round like never before.
DraftKings, safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want.
Download the DraftKings app now and use the promo code M&M to play free for millions. That's right. Enter promo code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. Get in the action for the divisional round only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL.
Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I had some incredible pizza this weekend or yesterday before the game. Eddie and Sam's New York Pizza in downtown Tampa. Really, really good. Really, really good. Even got some cheese fries. Also, saw the Bengals Titans game at a bar called The Patio. Love that place. Bunch of Bengals and Titans fans. So yeah. For the Firestone, I'll get John Smith. I gotta try it. No, Nick, come on. No, I stayed with my friend that goes to the University of Tampa. Saved a lot of money. I went to a bar in downtown called the Pint and Brew. Met some Rams fans, and I asked them, why aren't there Rams fans? And their excuse was, things like this take time. I'm like, what about right now? have one of the best teams on paper in the NFL. By the way, this is the first time I saw the University of Tampa's campus. Wow.
Yeah.
Really nice, isn't it?
Wow.
Yeah. For D2, it's pretty good, isn't it?
Well,
So nice.
Yeah, really. I mean, it's like where you went to college, a private Jesuit school.
Apparently they have a really good baseball team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My high school basketball coach played college basketball for them.
And they're still building stuff. They're building a new aquatic center.
It's right downtown. I mean, it's
right across the river. Yeah.
it's cool. I mean, I've noticed when you come down whatever that street is there, it's like boom. It's
And that they have that old hotel as well. They said that when they had the parade last year, everyone got out of class and just stood there, watched the boats go by.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. The Florida Sports Network. Thrilled to be here. A growing network, a growing audience. We are very appreciative of that fact. No guests today. We thought, quite frankly, that a guest might clog up a show after the greatest weekend in NFL playoff history. 4 games decided by 15 total points. All 4 decided on the last play of the game. And the road teams coming agonizingly close to going a perfect 4-0, which had never happened in the divisional round before. And going 3-1 hadn't happened in 13 years. Our poll question, at that Mark Miller or at the David Moulton on Twitter. Please vote. People been out of shape. This happens, well, every year in the playoffs, to be honest with you, when a game goes overtime and the team that wins the toss goes right down the field and scores a touchdown. But after an epic game between the Chiefs and the Bills, folks who didn't have a rooting interest were like, come on, Josh Allen didn't even touch the ball. So we asked, do you want to change the overtime rule? Yes, every team should get the ball at least once. No, leave it the way it is. At last check mark, I believe yes was around 64%. People want to change it.
That's crazy to me.
But it's not me. It's not me. First off, we're not even 24 hours removed.
Well, and that's why it's always scary when you have these questions the day after such an epic game and people just wanted more.
Yeah. I mean, heck, we're not even 12 hours removed. So that's our poll question at that Mark Miller, at the David Moulton. All right.
I'd like to see less zero blitzes
right
late in the game and not worry about overtime.
And I'd like to be able to defend 13 seconds.
Correct.
I'll give it a shot there, Leslie Frazier, Sean McDermott. I will say this, if I was a Bills fan, and I hate this, and this is where it is amazing to me. It really is. It is amazing to me what chicken blank most reporters are post-game asking a question. I mean, do you think these coaches are going to jump down and stab you with something? I mean, do you think they're going to physically fight you? Hell, most of these things are being done on Zoom anyway. Ask the question. Sean McDermott was asked 3 or 4 different times about the final 13 seconds, and he had a pat answer. Well, it's all on me. At some point, somebody has to go, yeah, no kidding. You're the head coach, but you owe it to your fan base, and you do, coach, owe it to your fan base. Okay, they are incredulous right now as to how you guys could give up that field goal with 13 seconds to go. You owe it to your fan base to explain what was your thinking. What was it you were trying to do on each play? We know it's your fault. You're the head coach. Ultimately, it's on you. So we're not trying to cast blame here. The fans want to know what happened. And no offense, you owe it to them. You do.
I mean, did you really think that? I mean, you asked. I mean, my question: Did Coach? I get that you said it's your fault, but did you guys really think when you tied the game that with 13 seconds that they were going to take a knee? Because your defensive effort looked like you had no idea what you were going to do.
Well, I think you're getting the two confused. You're getting the Bucks and the Rams confused with the Bills and the Chiefs.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay. But I mean, and from the very beginning, and I would say, Coach, there were 3 plays. Let's start with the kickoff. Why did you kick it deep? Some are wondering, okay, if you squib it, you might take 3-4 seconds off the clock. And then just let them explain it, because I'm fine with them kicking it deep. Because I could argue when you're lining up to kick off, well, the Chiefs' best chance to tie or win this game is to probably get their hands on a return here. I mean, what are they going to be able to do with 13 seconds? They get the ball on their own 25. I mean, the Chiefs are probably wanting them to squib it. Get a running start, pick the ball up at about the 15, 20-yard line, and we get one seam. I mean, boom, we're at 40, 50-yard line. One play with Mahomes, there we are. So I can defend not squibbing it. But that's – I was incredulous listening to the postgame. I was incredulous. Well, yeah, that's on me. Yeah, no, blank, it's on you. You're the head coach. Of course it's on you. But we're not trying to cast blame here. What happened? What were you thinking? What were you trying to do that you didn't do? Please explain. Your fan base deserves an explanation here. They want to know. They've been watching football a long time. They've seen the Bills screw up quite a few things over the years. Even they thought they had gotten the horse into the barn this time. So you need to explain to them going forward, what the heck were you thinking?
Well, and I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking, David. I really don't.
Either.
And I'm in the Bills Chiefs game. I know they had to kick it, but I mean, it's David. It's like they didn't have to score. I mean, they thought they won the game. They played defense as if that there was no way in 13. And I'm not saying I'm being facetious saying take a knee. I'm saying, did they think they were going to just run the ball and the game was over? Because they played defense like Kansas City was going to take a knee down 3, David.
Mark, what you said is an incredulous but true statement. They really did play defense on those final 2 plays as if the game was really over.
That's what it looked like. And that's why I understand the timing. I did get a little confused there, but it's still, to me, the Bills played defense as if it was the end of the half and that the Chiefs were just going to run the ball a couple times,
right,
go into the locker room, and we're going to go play some more football.
Right.
I don't
get it.
I don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, I got to be honest with you. I mean, if you're going to allow them, why allow them to get that dangerously close? I mean, to be honest with you, if they're getting to about the 40-yard line, I mean, you might as well let them get to the 20. Seriously, it's all the same. I mean, they should have been defending that precious real estate. I mean, in an ideal world, you don't even want them to get to midfield. You don't even want Mahomes to be able to reach the end zone with a Hail Mary.
I may be lining players up at midfield on that last pass after the first play. You can't let Kelsey get past midfield.
It was unbelievable. Both plays were unbelievable, actually.
And if you wanted to commit a pass interference at midfield, David, on that play, because then they're going to be out at, they have 3 seconds left at that point.
Yeah, all I can do is a Hail Mary.
I can literally stand at midfield. If Kelsey comes by, I'm going to clock him.
Right. But, Mark, they weren't close enough to commit pass interference. No. They were barely close enough to tackle him. Kelsey damn near had to get down before time ran out. He had so much room to run. Which is another reason, by the way, I would say, hey, we don't need to change the overtime rules. One team only had to defend 13 seconds. We could have avoided this whole overtime thing. You feel badly for Josh Allen. Yeah, I'm with you. I feel badly for Josh Allen. I think it's appalling that Josh Allen's not playing this week. So the game-winning touchdown with 13 seconds turns out not to be the game-winning touchdown. I mean, I've only seen it happen once before. We did a Tennessee-Georgia game in which Jacob Eason, threw a 50-yard pass down a sideline when the cornerback for Tennessee thought, well, he can't reach the end zone from here, and the receiver ran right by him, caught it, touchdown with 10 seconds to go. Georgia took the lead. and they had a lead by more than 3. But they got a celebration penalty, which moved the kickoff back, and they got a squib kick, big return across midfield, had time to run one play, a Hail Mary, and Jawan Jennings caught the Hail Mary in the end zone for Tennessee, and they won. It's the only time I've ever seen a team throw a touchdown pass to take a more than 3-point or a 3-point or more lead with 10 or less seconds and not win the game. And think about the series of events that had to happen.
My young son was at that game. Big Georgia fan was at that game.
Right.
That was a kick in the teeth.
Yes, it was.
And that was just a regular season game.
It was.
Do you know how big the kick to the,
Right.
we used to joke around. In college, I had a job. I worked for Granger, and I had to wear steel-toed boots because I was in the warehouse. Steel-toed Dickies. And we used to joke around when things were really bad. This is laying down on the ground and someone kicking you know where with the steel-toed Dickies. That's what happened to the Bills. That's not a gut punch. That's a groin kick, what happened to them in 13 seconds. It is unfathomable. The longer the day goes on today, David, I think the more incredulous both of us will get towards the end of that game.
Well, I think Bills fans are going to go from shock and sadness to anger, quite frankly. I do. I think they're going to get angry today. They were shocked and they were really sad. They were heartbroken last night.
Right.
I think they're going to be downright angry as the day goes on today. How in the world did we let them? I mean, we gave it to them. What are you doing? Offer up some resistance. 28 minutes before the hour. I promise when we come back, not one, but 2 analogies.
2 analogies?
2. I thought
2
of one.
analogies?
I thought of one.
Over easy?
One scrambled, one over easy.
Fantastic. We've got analogies on the other side with a side of bacon on Miller and Moulton right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey guys,
Yeah.
I got Ken from Lehigh calling in the show. He says that I got Ken from Lehigh calling in the
I
show.
got you. You said that.
Or David.
Oh.
He thinks that overtime rules shouldn't change.
Okay.
That's great.
And
It's great.
should
So
not-
is there any problem over there, like an affiliate or anything, or are you just having a long conversation with it?
no, I just got a call.
Okay,
yeah.
that's fine. Okay.
Coming in and out. Huh. Okay, now it's back. That's too bad because we've only had 120 people watching. Huh. That really stinks.
Yeah, we were over 100.
I wonder if that'll count as a separate broadcast. Sometimes that happens. Yep. Well, that's not bad, though, because it means we averaged 82 for that session.
Oh, okay. Where do Aaron Rodgers and the Packers go from here? It's called divorce. That's where they go from here.
Well, David, I'm not allowing that to happen. I'm trying to get to therapy. I'm trying to do everything I can.
We did that. We stayed together for the kids for one more year as it was.
Yeah, well, I don't know what to tell you. Really like to share the dog this year.
One of you is going to get the dog.
All right. So I did my informal RT17 rankings.
Now,
best he could be is 11th.
Oh yeah, and he's not that good.
Well, no. Here are the guys, and I might have missed somebody: Brady, Rodgers, Wilson, Burrow, Watson, Allen, Mahomes, Stafford, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson are all clearly guys you'd have better. Then I put this group of Cousins, Ryan, Mayfield, Carr, and Kyler Murray. That I think
Dak.
He'd be in that. I missed him. Dak would be ahead of this group, but he would be in this same group with me.
Well, I'd put Tannehill at the end of that group. Like, I think all those quarterbacks are better than Tannehill.
Yeah, that's and I thought so that puts him at
like now we're getting
17th.
20.
17th. No, 17th.
Right.
So he's clearly in the middle third, and he's not even close to the bottom third. That's all. I just had to. And Ben would have been ahead of him, but
I think 20. Okay, and I'll be honest with you. This year, with the last 2 years of Ben, you could argue Tannehill was better than the last 2 years of Ben.
Right, and I don't have Trevor Lawrence in here because he's not there yet.
Right. And you're right. You can fill up like the last 8 spots with just young quarterbacks who.
But I mean, you got Matt Jones, you got
Daniel Jones, right?
Thomas, or not Wilson, Tua. I mean, you got a bunch of guys, but they're not better right now. Let's work on the algorithm. Wow. Thank you, Adam. Yes, he is, fam. No, he's not, Panda.
Which one, Tannehill or Wentz? Come on. He's played 12 games. The other thing with Wentz is he clearly has a leadership issue. I think that's also part of why the Colts want to bail on him. They just don't see him as the leader of the team. If I was the Colts, I would go all in for Aaron Rodgers. After what I saw this weekend, with what we have to compete against,
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. Mark, we just got a comment. Brown Chicken in our Twitch chat room said, my Bills fan said this loss hurt more than the Super Bowl losses. And I was thinking last night, because you and I both know at least 2 of the same Bills fans, and I was consoling one of them last night till about midnight Eastern. And to which I finally said, hey, I got to go to bed. I got a morning show.
You are very nice.
Well, come on now.
No.
That's gut-wrenching.
I got you.
I mean, that's...
The wife just wasn't cutting it for him for a sports...
Right. Well, it's a fiance, and yeah, she's just kind of like, I gotta get up and, go to work. And he's just, walking outside, talking, mumbling to no one in particular. And I will say, you got to remember, this franchise has lost 4 Super Bowls, and this franchise was victim of the Music City Miracle also, in which Tennessee then went to the Super Bowl, even though that was a wild card round game. They then won 2 more playoff games and damn near went to overtime in the Super Bowl. So, a Bills fan looks at that game and thinks we would have gone to a Super Bowl, even though Rob Johnson was your quarterback and there was no way you were going to the Super Bowl. But that's a whole other point. But 4 Super Bowl losses and victims of the Music City Miracle. And I would argue, Mark, this was the second worst loss in franchise history. The first Super Bowl against the Giants, wide right. I mean, come on, that's the Super Bowl.
That's the gut. That's the kick.
Right.
No, David, I'm with you because one, like you said all during the week, when you get to this point, every team, every fan base starts thinking,
we can do this.
We can get there.
Yeah.
You can now see it.
Absolutely.
And amplify that times at least 10 for the winner of the Chiefs-Bills game. We've already had Cincinnati upset Tennessee. When the game started, the winner is hosting the AFC Championship, and before the game has started that you're going to be a 7-point favorite minimum against the Cincinnati Bengals. That's just a fact.
And then you get in this fight, and as you are in the middle of it, there is a part of you that thinks, winner of this game, not only are we going to the Super Bowl, hell, winner of this game is winning this sucker. I mean, that was a heavyweight fight. Pick your cliche. That was Ali Frazier 3 right there. I mean, you're not only playing for the heavyweight championship of the world, you're playing for the heavyweight title of Ali Frazier. I mean, and the Bills and Chiefs now they're playing each other every year. The last 2 years, they played one another twice.
And we may see that for a while. This has Indy and New England written all over it if the health of the quarterback stays.
Well, and especially since they're both winning their division. So, they already know they're playing in Kansas City next year. I got 2 analogies. One for the Bills and one for the Packers. Stick with Buffalo for a second.
Okay.
Last night was the 0-3 Red Sox. Remember, Boston was building something. They went to the league championship series in 99. All right, they went to the playoffs a couple times between 99 and 03. They were putting a group together. They're trying to end the curse. Bills are trying to win a Super Bowl. Never done it before. Buffalo's doing what? They're putting something together here. There's 4 playoff appearances in 5 years. Much like Pedro and Ortiz and Manny, they got a star in Allen and a couple of other pieces around them in which you're like, well, that's a Pro Bowler. That's a Pro Bowler.
Right.
Okay.
A couple of the defensive linemen they've been drafting. Yep.
Remember, the Red Sox in 03 up 5-2 in the 8th on the Yankees in Game 7. They're going to slay the dragon. They're going to go to the World Series. And everybody watching that ALCS was convinced winner of this series is going to win the World Series, especially when the Marlins upset the Cubs on the other side. We all know how it ended with Aaron Boone in extra innings and Grady Little. And much like with the Bills and what were you doing in the final 13 seconds, Red Sox fans wondered what was Grady Little doing, keeping Pedro in and not going to the bullpen and all that. Little, by the way, got fired. Came within 5 outs of going to the World Series and got fired. All right, that's hardcore. That's serious. That's why, Sean McDermott it's on me. Damn right it's on you. And it's damn near a fireable offense. Got to be honest. But I look at the Bills as the 0-3 Red Sox because you knew they were coming right back the next year. They were going to die trying to slay this dragon. They had a bunch of good players together. They had more in them, and they were coming after it. And that's how I look at the Bills. They're coming right back next year. And we are going to get you suckers. Time's on our side, by the way. We're younger. You got cap issues in about an hour and a half. We are coming. And we're going to get you before you have to break yourself up, by the way. We're going to do what the Rams did to Tampa yesterday. We're going to get you.
All right. I'm going to give that one the scrambled of the 2 analogies.
Okay.
Only because I think the Bills fans are a little scrambled right now. I don't think they know what to think right now. I think that was a great analogy. Let me ask you this, David. I'm guessing, as we've talked about, Gary Danielson, who's been a friend of the show for many years, Gary, way back when, used to basically use us to try out new material. Did you try this material
No,
out on your Bills
I've not
fan
talked
last
to
night?
anybody. No.
Well, I didn't know in the texting
no,
last night
no.
trying to talk to Bills fan at full edge.
No, it was too early. No, it was too early.
Will you go back to him today with this analogy?
I'm hoping he listens to our show. He watches our show. I'm hoping he's hearing it and he will get some small piece of consolation. I'm afraid the anger's just going to set in today and there's going to be no analogy that's going to hit home. It's only going to get worse before it gets better.
I'm angry with my football team.
I'm angry with my head coach and my defensive coordinator.
Yes,
that's
I
am.
Sure. I'm angry with my defense right now.
I don't need a cheerleader. You know what I need? I need somebody who can coach 13 blanking seconds. That's what I need.
All right. That was one. You said you have two.
Yes.
Two analogies in one.
You were selling a car there. All right. That was fantastic. I don't know if we're on the lot or
I'll
you're just
paint
trying
that car for $99.99.
Thank you, Earl. I didn't know if you were trying to get me onto the lot or you already had me on the lot. All right. Second analogy. The Green Bay Packers or the Atlanta Braves. Braves had a 15-year run where they won 14 division titles. Would have made the playoffs all 15 of those seasons, but baseball decided to cancel the playoffs one of those years. But the Braves won 14 consecutive division titles from 91 through 2005. Now, they went to 5 World Series in the 90s. But after they stopped going to World Series, they won 6 straight division titles. They kept knocking on the door. Made some LCSs, the whole deal. 15 years, won 1. And we all know the track record with Green Bay. Now, you may just want to limit it to Aaron Rodgers' tenure.
And you really can. I mean, he's their big one. They had their big 3. David, that is spot on.
But the Braves went to 5. All right, 1-1. Packers went to 3, 1-2. Over a period, by the way, twice as long as the Braves. The Packers run here of Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Favre takes over in the 92 season? So they've literally had exactly 30 years of Hall of Fame quarterback play. Went to 3 Super Bowls, won 2. We all know the Hall of Fame pitchers that the Braves had. Much like Favre and Rodgers, Hall of Fame quarterbacks, the Braves had the 3 Hall of Fame starting pitchers. Went to 5, 1-1.
I love that one.
And now, obviously, it took a generation, but who just won the World Series?
Well, the Braves.
Right.
So that means Jordan Love's going to get one for him.
Not necessarily
Love. No, the guy after. The guy that replaced.
Because remember, it took a generation.
I was just having a little fun.
So whoever's quarterback in the team at about 2037, 2038, you're going to get one. You are. It'll be Title Town again.
You know, there's a couple of places where fans have crossover. You know, most states root for the team in their state. We got a text this morning from a Lions fan who grew up north in the UP, you know. He's a Youper.
Oh, nice.
And many a Youper smartly is a Green Bay Packer fan. But this one isn't. I grew up where there are more Packers fans than Lions fans, and I'm a Lions fan. Whenever the Packers gets bounced, I'm happy. Wow.
It's a lot of pain right there.
It's a lot of pain.
Relishing the pain of others. That's a lot of pain. We're leaving Lambeau on Saturday night. And I will say, usually very nice, polite crowd, even after a loss. And we haven't been there for a lot of losses, obviously. They've been pretty good the last 3 years. But, you know, even last year when they lost to Tampa Bay, the crowd was not unruly. Then again, it was an afternoon game. It was
right.
More pleasant conditions. You know,
yeah, they put 4 hours into this just at the field, and it was chilly.
Right. It was chilly. 5th coldest game ever at
right.
Lambeau Field history. I will say we caught a break. The wind was not coming directly into the booth like it always seems to do. So don't get me wrong. It was below 0 in the booth. I mean, we're 4 or 5 stories up in a wide open booth. I mean, it's 10 degrees outside with a wind chill of 0. That's if you're on the field. I mean, it was colder than that in the booth. But so we're making our way out of Lambeau Field. And there's this stretch of road that we're going to have to walk across to get to the compound where our vehicles are. And I thought I was in Philadelphia, put it that way. It was getting rough.
They're mad at you?
No. They're just mad. All right. They were just not happy about life in the pursuit of happiness.
Gotcha.
And so we had a local security. We had a couple of guys who were helping us. And we waited. We all got together. And as we're waiting, the security guard turns, he looks around, and he goes, "Gentlemen, it gets a lot colder in the winter once the Packers are eliminated from the playoffs. Let's go." And I felt like he was leading us on an Antarctic expedition across the roadway, toward the compound.
And not all of you are going to make it back.
No.
David, we got this text. Your analogies have brought out analogies.
Uh-oh.
And I almost hate to say this out loud, but I'm going to. Texter says the following, David, and you can text the show by texting FSN Radio to 21,000. Said, I think the Bills are like the Knicks in MJ's baseball years. The Pats look like they'll be back.
No way. There's no way you could have watched football this year, and outside of the crazy Monday night weather game, did you watch the last two meetings? The Bills didn't punt in either one of the last two meetings. The Bills look so much superior to the Patriots right now. Come on. Quite frankly, they made New England look like they're playing in a different league.
I just thought it was fun. I thought it was someone wanting to. This is obviously someone that wanted to kick the Bills fans when they're
because you haven't had enough success. You need to relish now in the pain of others. Well, it was scary. I mean, if you're a fan of an AFC team, we got a lot of Dolph fans listening right now. And, never mind the handful of Jags fans, and you want Trevor Lawrence to be one of these guys. But when you watched Burrow on Saturday, sacked 9 times and keep getting up, dusting himself off and shredding that team.
That was Andrew Luck-like to me. That's what Burrow, because I watched Andrew Luck when he was playing great football, get his butt kicked and just kept coming back and slinging it.
Hey,
so that's what that reminded me of.
Hey, nice sack, man. Hey, nice play.
Do you know the last time a quarterback got sacked 9 times in a playoff game and won?
Never.
Len Dawson in 66.
Okay.
55. Well, since the merger, never. 55
they showed that
years.
McNabb did it with 8 sacks.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty impressive. And you're thinking, wow, we got to go against that guy. And then those two do what they did yesterday. I mean, tell me you're not sitting looking around going, how in the world are we going to compete with that? Seriously? We got to beat those guys? How old are they? Please tell me they're like 40. Oh, no, they're in their mid-20s. Really? You mean we got 10, 12 more years going up against those two? Oh, yeah, they're both under contract, too. They signed long-term deals. Really? And Mac Jones, nice look, young quarterback. Did you watch the football over the weekend?
No, and the Chargers think they got somebody that's pretty special, too.
Yeah, and he can't even get them in the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah. Scary good. Those 3 were.
Really and truly were. And all have pretty good group of guys they get the ball to as well. I know the quarterbacks are part of it, but, man, there's some talented guys they're slinging it to.
Yeah. Keep waiting for Travis Kelce to get old. That doesn't seem to be happening. The bonus hour is next. Thanks so much for listening. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
The Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, roars through the streets of beautiful downtown St. Petersburg, February 25th to the 27th. 3-day tickets are on sale now at gpstpete.com. It's fast, fun, family entertainment jam-packed into 3 days. The weekend is highlighted by the NTT IndyCar Series race taking the green flag on Sunday afternoon. It all happens at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, February 25th to the 27th. Get your tickets at gpstpete.com to secure the best seats.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
We've hit the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, and DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL, still has huge cash prizes up for grabs.
This week, new customers can get on the game and play free for millions with their first deposit. There are only a few weeks of football left, so draft your squad now.
Playing daily fantasy football simple. Just pick your lineup of NFL stars, staying under the salary cap, and score enough points to bring home cash.
And with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes, you'll feel the action of the divisional round like never before.
DraftKings, safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want.
Download the DraftKings app now and use the promo code M&M to play free for millions. That's right. Enter promo code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. Get in the action for the divisional round only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL.
Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Spitz, I hear you, man. I think the Chiefs would win that game, by the way.
Longtime Bills fan text me. You're right. It's the second worst loss. Maybe the first Super Bowl fits in there, but probably second worst loss.
Mahomes Allen feels like Brady Manning.
Run that by me again.
Mahomes and Allen feel like Brady and Manning.
Yeah, I will say Kansas City they got one more year with most of this core, and then they're going to have to get really creative.
Yeah.
Cap standpoint wise.
Well, it depends on where the cap is, too.
Yeah.
They could always draft someone as well. Get lucky. I mean, hell, they drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Well, and now, getting, not necessarily lucky, but getting a receiver, you don't need, look at Gabriel Davis, for Christ's sake.
UCF,
So, I mean, to find another receiver, I'm not saying you're going to find another Hill, but to find all of a sudden you get a guy that ends up being a 1,
yeah,
it doesn't mean you have to draft him in the first 20 picks. That's
right.
for damn sure.
You also have Patrick Mahomes, who probably throws the ball the best in the NFL right now. I mean, that dude is just on another level.
Air must kick on at 8:30 here because it goes from hot
Yeah.
to cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Which makes sense. That's when people are showing
Oh, yeah.
up.
So you were making the MJ analogy with forgot who it was, with the Bulls, but I don't know. I think the Chiefs remind me of like the Warriors. I think Patrick Mahomes is like the Steph Curry of the NFL.
Yeah, that works.
And the Rams are the Warriors of the NFC because the Rams are stacked. It's ridiculous. One play you have Aaron Donald putting pressure on Brady. Then you have Von Miller sacking. By the way, Jalen Ramsey got dusted on that Mike Evans play.
Yeah, but up until then, he
was playing amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, Evans was getting some catches, but he was making him a possession receiver.
Yeah. I was explaining to my friend that I went with, I was like, that guy number 5, Jalen Ramsey, he's skinny, but he tackles the bleep out of people. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Paul. I really like Patrick Mahomes. That's the thing. All 4 years of college, I've seen him in the AFC Championship game. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
And I have a Mahomes jersey. Oh, the Miami Heat are the 1 seed in the East.
Yeah, I don't think it matters.
Just wanted to put that out there.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, on this Monday after the greatest weekend in NFL playoff history. Closest divisional rounds ever. 4 games decided by 15 total points. All 4 decided on the last play of the game. That is re-damn-diculous. 18 points, by the way, had been the previous close margin of victory for 4 divisional games. The fact that the road teams came agonizingly close to going 4-0, which had never happened before. And we have 2 4 seeds and a 6 still playing come conference championship weekend.
What is this, the West region?
This is how unlikely I thought it was with 13 seconds left that the Bills were going to lose. I actually thought when the Bills scored, remember, they went up 2. And I thought to myself, well, what are you lining up for an extra point for? The best chance the Chiefs may have in this game is to block this kick and return it for 2. And I actually thought to myself, I think I'd run a 2-point conversion here. Because it doesn't matter if we get stopped. I mean, the game's over. We've won. They're not going to drive down and kick a field goal. But I'm thinking, wow, best chance for them might be to block this kick. That's how much the horse was in my barn, Mark.
Well, and I think the coaching staff of the Bills were thinking the same thing because they were already trying to figure out who they had to get tickets for. And I don't know, David. We've had the NFL Network on in the background, and they've obviously been showing this game nonstop.
Yeah.
And at different times, David and I get up during the commercial break to get water or do whatever. And, you just find yourself watching the same highlight, shaking your head going, how did he get that wide open? How did they allow those 13 seconds to happen?
I mean, it just seemed as if it wasn't enough time. And which is crazy, I know, because of who the 2 teams are and the weapons and how strong-armed the quarterbacks are. But it just seemed a little too unbelievable.
Those 3 timeouts also helped.
There's no doubt. And that's why the people making the whole Cowboys, and listen, I have no problem picking on the Cowboys. I mean, they give us a lot of fodder. There's a huge difference. I mean, the Chiefs had 3 timeouts in their back pocket to run 2 plays. The Cowboys had no timeouts. So, yeah, the Chiefs were able to have a scoring drive and less time than the Cowboys. Yeah, come on now. I mean, that's just taking a cheap shot. It's 2 totally different worlds. It might as well have been 2 totally different sports. That's how different the circumstances were. But I don't know if anybody else thought that. That's, Mark, how, to me, Josh Allen just threw the game-winning touchdown pass. I mean, and in fact, I'm like, why are you lining up for an extra point here? I mean, because also, you have to admit, the last 2 minutes was pretty crazy. I'm thinking to myself, well, it'd be fitting if they blocked this thing and returned it and we're tied.
And, when you're saying that, I'm going probably a better chance of throwing an interception returned and going. I mean, you have to run the ball then too. If you're running, just out of curiosity, if you're going for 2, the ball never leaves.
Oh no, you're direct snap to Josh Allen. He goes either left or right. Absolutely. Oh no, were you kidding?
Right.
No, and we're not giving the ball to Cam Akers either. I mean, we're not fumbling this thing.
Right.
A little cheap shot there, but I don't know what to tell you. I mean, man, oh man.
And I think you really made an excellent point earlier, is that Todd Bowles getting let off the hook for what happened
Oh, yeah.
in the game before it for what the Bills did at the end of their game.
Yeah. He's calling up Leslie Frazier today saying, hey, thanks, man.
Might have saved me getting a job.
Nobody's talking about my zero blitz after what you guys did. Whew.
Because this just in. Cooper Kupp was running around behind the secondary all damn day.
All day. All day.
And if he wasn't, Higbee was.
But, I mean, in that situation, I mean, you're trying for a sack? I mean, do you really think you're going to force another turnover? Stafford, by the way, wasn't giving you a turnover all day. Okay, you think you're going to get one from Stafford? And for those just joining us, Stafford, the best quarterback in the league against the blitz. The best this year. The best. It's partly why the Niners match up so well. The Niners rarely blitz. They rush 4. They play a lot of zone. And they can get there with their 4. And you know me, Mark. I mean, as terrific as this weekend was, what in 3 of the 4 games anyway, what did we have? We had defensive lines hitting and sacking quarterbacks. And even some legendary quarterbacks look a whole lot different when they're getting hit. Now, when you stop hitting them, they look like legendary quarterbacks again.
And they stopped hitting them at a certain point.
Right.
And allowed them to look legendary.
Right. I mean, Tom was getting hit for damn near 3 quarters.
Yeah, Tom did not look like Tom Brady.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, my wife's big joke, because she always, Tom's terrific, because she's the one that's kind of started me on the, it's always Tom Brady.
Right. It's not Tom.
It's not Tom.
Brady.
It's Tom Brady. Tom Brady. And she goes, Tom's not so terrific. And when he threw that pass to Evan, she turned and looked at me. She goes, that was pretty terrific. And yes, it was, dear. It was very terrific. But he was getting mauled for 3 quarters.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, every throw felt contested, pretty much.
and I'm guessing, Felipe, because you were there, I'm guessing the crowd through 3 quarters was getting pretty agitated.
Oh, yeah. What are we doing? What are we doing? Why do we keep running the ball?
It's because they're trying to soften up the front because they can't block them.
Oh, my entire section was saying that he should retire. Retire! He's too old. What happened?
Okay.
I will never doubt, because I'm not going to lie. I was with him.
Oh, my goodness.
Brady, bum. I came all the way over here, and Brady's playing like this.
Unbelievable.
What is going on? I was so mad. And, man, I was just, never again. I
We
will
are
never doubt
such
him.
a fly-by-night society.
I made the mistake that every single person has made at least once.
Kidding me?
Doubting Tom Brady. Never do it. Don't do it. It's not worth it.
I can at least sympathize with Felipe, because he had told us the story all week. He's like, hey, it's Stafford, it's Brady. It might be might be his last home game.
Right.
I mean, he was fired up to see Brady play. And I do at least get, you show up at the damn game, he's got 3 points and he's doing nothing. And like, I came here to watch you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
but-
doo-doo.
Yeah, but you are not upright half the time.
No.
I mean, and
Look,
you saw it in Green Bay also. Remember, who beat Rodgers and the Packers last year? Tampa. What did they do? They sacked him 5 times. They knocked him to the ground 11. It makes a difference. How did the 18-0 Patriots get beat? The Giants kicked the tar out of Brady. Kicked the tar out of him. That one AFC championship game in Denver, Von Miller and the Broncos defense. Brady could have sued his offensive line. That's how much he got hit. And they barely won. The Giants barely won. The Rams barely won. The Niners barely won.
never been blown out in the playoffs. Or one time against the Broncos. That was it.
Defensive lines getting pressure on and hitting the quarterback. And that's why, you got to give it up to Joe Burrow. Now, the rest of his team, wouldn't you agree, Mark? The Bengals held up better on defense and the defensive line in particular to the Titans running game. I mean, they played a lot better than we thought they would.
Yes, they did.
And they got the last turnover to give, Burrow a chance to make that last throw and what have you. But I mean, Joe Burrow hung in there. He got sacked 9 times.
We knew the offensive line was bad. We told you that Tennessee could get after the quarterback. I mean,
right.
I thought at the end of the day, Cincinnati was going to win because he was going to be able to make plays on that secondary. And he made enough.
Well, he made one final throw.
Yeah.
There you go.
And I thought early when he had the opportunity and they were getting 3, I thought, I'm yelling at the television going, you don't win kicking field goals, guys. You got to get 6 here at some point.
Especially on the road. Absolutely. When Tennessee tied it, I thought, no doubt they're going to win. No doubt that you should have about 24 points on the board. You got 16. This is going to come back and bite you.
Yep.
But Rodgers sacked 5 times. What was the final number on Brady? I mean, he threw over 50 passes. Can only imagine how many times he dropped back. But I mean, that to me, it was like, wow. Which is why, by the way, playoff football, because what usually happens at some point at that side of the ball, which doesn't necessarily show up in the regular season, can show up and do things. I mean, I love pressure on a quarterback. I love the quarterback having to make those throws when they are just surrounded by chaos.
3 sacks on Brady, but how many? He had to be knocked down 10 times.
Yeah.
Had to be knocked down 10 times.
But I mean, even Aaron Rodgers. Hey, Aaron Rodgers, if it turns out to be his last throw as a Green Bay Packer, much like Brett Favre's last throw as a Green Bay Packer was an interception. All right. Rodgers, I mean, he had a guy wide open across the middle of the field, but you can rattle even a legendary quarterback. And at that point in time, he was just like, the hell with it. Let me throw it deep to Devontae, who's double covered, by the way. I mean, Jordan Love makes that throw. People go, what are you doing? Throwing in a double coverage. You're lucky you didn't get picked off. Got a guy wide open on a deep in cut. What are you doing? He might still be running if you hit him. That's what pressure does. That's what getting hit does. I don't like it.
Nobody does, David.
No, we didn't like it as kids. No. If you walk down the hallway and every time you walk down the hallway, somebody just kind of pushed you in your upper arm.
I mean, there's a handful of boxers that I think liked getting hit that just kept coming forward. You can name them basically on one hand.
Right. Mickey Ward.
Right.
Right.
And it's funny. I was thinking Ward Gotti right off the bat. Bernard Hopkins didn't mind it because he could just come in and let you hit his arms for.
Yeah, right.
You hit him, but you never really hit him hard. Okay.
You didn't hit me in the face, by the way. That was my shoulder. That was my elbow. That was my forearm. But that was one of the things that I really enjoyed from this weekend was like, look at there. Pressure on a quarterback with a 4-man rush. How about that? You can still do that, huh? And it still works, even against the best quarterbacks we have. Meanwhile, what did we see in the Buffalo-Kansas City game? For as much as those teams tried, it's not like they didn't try. They threw just about everything they could at those 2 quarterbacks. They could not get them on the ground.
Mahomes, Allen's terrific, and I love watching them both, and they're different. Mahomes is so shifty. Some of those 2-step darts that he makes to avoid an oncoming rush are amazing to me. It doesn't even look like he's moving quickly, and he's, it's like a dance step almost.
Yeah.
His ability to elude defenders. It is, to me, it's so impressive to watch. It's one thing when you had Ben in his heyday, and Ben kind of threw him off of him. But Patrick moves around subtly and makes guys look silly.
He looks like a slower Lamar Jackson sometimes. Like he just shifts through and cuts
right,
those holes.
But it's not slow. You know what I mean? I'm with you. I'm totally. You're exactly right. To me and what you're saying.
Right.
It looks slow when he's doing it. It obviously isn't. He has incredible timing back there. An incredible feat.
Mahomes reminds me of the fighter that you just can't hit, and you feel like you're on top of him. And you go back to the corner and they go, listen, man, you got to hit him. And you look up at your cornerman like, you don't think I'm trying?
Ali.
Yeah, it's just part
Can't
of it.
hit what you can't see.
Right. I'm right there. You're right there. Hit him. Trying, man.
He's incredible.
Yeah. Miller and Moulton. 15 minutes after the hour, the bonus hour here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, that's the thing, Peeville. He is a flawless quarterback. There are no holes in his game. I mean, you saw that Super Bowl last year. The dude was getting pressured like every single snap, what felt like. And he was throwing dimes. He was throwing darts. Off balance, falling down, running out of bounds. It was ridiculous. Also, his receivers forgot how to catch footballs that day. And Mellow Debbie, no, actually, I have not seen the Ward Gotti trilogy. Sorry. I love boxing, though. I would prefer a heavily hyped up heavyweight fight over any UFC fight. And I like the UFC, but boxing, like two heavyweight dudes, it's just classic. Like the Fury Wilder, I mean, even though Fury won all three of them, they were some good fights.
Shots fired in the Punta Gorda Irish pub Friday night. Wasn't that wonderful?
Oh, that's ugly.
Yeah, so the guy who played golf against Friday grew up with Louis Armstrong. Or Louis Anderson, rather.
Oh, I was going to say.
Amazing.
Isn't that wild? Like they're both from Minnesota, like
Amazing.
childhood friends. Like crazy. He told a couple fun stories.
The Kansas City Patriots. Look, man, everyone's over the Chiefs. Beat them. Like, they're that good.
Got a text here.
Okay.
A little dolphin-esque, but Someone already wanting Dolphins to get to Sean.
Saw some Doll fans at the Bucks game. That was cool. Hey, what's up, man? Go Dolphins. Yeah, Tua sucks. Yeah. Well, he's not Justin Herbert.
Running stream of consciousness from a Bucks fan too.
Please, Aaron Rodgers to Miami. Don't flirt with me about that. Okay, I have one hot take that I took away from yesterday's loss.
Quickly.
Brady, we had 30 seconds. Brady, one more year in the NFL, goes back to the Patriots, wins the Super Bowl.
No.
Why not?
Because he did 20 years.
Go back.
And he's done.
Retire a Patriot.
And they've moved on. And he's moved on.
They have Mac Jones, yes, but
And the only time he'll go back there is when his number's retired and for a couple of his
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes past the hour. Mark Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when quite a few birthdays on this day as well, Mark. That's a tease. That's a tease.
A reminder, you can catch the show going to twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. You can watch, you can subscribe, you can follow there. You can text the show by texting FSN Radio, all one word, to 21,000. That's the key word to get in. Like this gentleman who had a running stream of consciousness.
Oh, I like it.
The Bucks will look a whole lot different next year. That was the first game our defense played together because of injuries all year. I was crying tears of joy when the Bucks tied that game up just for Todd Bowles to take it away from me. Then he's upset about the unnecessary roughness, said they were BS. And he's upset that Matt Gay beat us while Ryan Suckup misses a field goal. I deleted all the expletives.
Okay. All right.
He was happy with the blitz on the last play.
Seriously?
Yeah, he says I felt. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought he said he liked the aggressive. Was a little too aggressive.
A little
too aggressive.
Cooper Kupp was on an island.
And what are you doing? Honestly, both defensive coordinators and both head coaches. What are you doing? Now, I will say, when you don't have any timeouts, if there's any sort of confusion or indecision, or the defense coordinator's making a call and you're the head coach and you don't like it, the Bills had plenty of timeouts. In fact, they called the timeout after every play. So you want to talk about having no excuse. It's the Bills. They played exactly the defense they wanted to play. Excuse me? Tampa didn't have any timeouts left. Now, I will say, that play was coming out of a timeout, though. Because didn't Stafford lose the ball and fall on it, take a 1-yard sack, and they burned their second to last timeout? Or their final timeout even? And then you come with an all out and he goes, oh, thanks. I'll throw it to this guy who you can't cover.
And now you really can't cover because
Right.
you've only got one guy on him. And there's no help from any safeties over the top.
Right. I mean, if you were trailing and you needed to force a turnover and you were in desperation, okay. But otherwise, tough to explain.
Well, first off, if you're trailing, they're not going to throw that type of a play.
Well, right, but
I
I'm
mean,
just saying.
No, I got
mean,
you.
To me, in that type of situation, you've got to be trailing here. You need to force a turnover. We got to get the ball. I mean, in that case, you just came from 27-6 down, 27-13 with 3.5 to go. I mean, trust me, you're taking overtime. The Rams are falling apart.
And by the way, you get to overtime and you win that. The questions we were going to have for this Ram team.
Ooh-wee. Meanwhile, what the Rams are doing, and, God forbid they win Sunday, but you know what I'm getting at. I mean, there are fans, and there are even some of us in the media who are like, why don't you push some chips in? Why don't you actually go for it? Not always plan for the future. This winning thing is hard. You feel like you got a chance to win? Why don't you spend a few resources really trying to win? The Rams have, this 5 years, by the way, the Rams have just keep pushing
Every chip in.
right. I mean, the Saints are in cap hell. They were in cap hell this year. They're going in cap hell for next year. They were like 60 million over the cap this year. They're 40-something million over the cap for next year. They kept kicking the can down the road. They had Drew Brees, and they were going for it. And they're paying. There's no doubt about it. But come on now. If you're a Saints fan, we went for it.
Right. It's why today the Bills fan is absolutely miserable. And the Bucs fan's equally as miserable, but they don't have to think too far back of winning a Super Bowl. Deadens the pain quite a bit.
But you acquired Von Miller. You acquired Matthew Stafford. Acquired Jalen Ramsey. I mean, spent serious resources here.
Went and got Odell. I mean,
yeah. Speaking of Odell, did you hear the story that came out over the weekend about Odell? This is going to shock you, Mark, but that I am not a Bitcoin and B, what is it, NFT guy?
No, you're not?
I know that's going to shock you. So when the Rams signed Beckham, it was a $750,000 deal. And he said, hey, I'd like that in Bitcoin.
So what's he playing for now? Because Bitcoin was at about 64 grand when he was signed, and it's somewhere around 40 something right now.
Mark, you're paying attention to the markets.
Right. I kind of do every day, but thank you.
But I don't.
Okay.
I don't know this.
Oh, okay.
All right. And I don't know how many people know that in the last 9 weeks that Bitcoin has
plummeted.
On November 12th, Bitcoin was worth $64,293. Today, it is worth $35,400. That's almost $29,000 less. That means his $750,000 deal from November 12th is now worth just $412,000. And that's $338,000.
Hold.
Odell gets taxed, however, on the $750,000 between federal and California state tax. That's 50.3%. So that means Odell is being taxed $375,000.
Right.
On what is now worth $412,000. Okay. Odell, as of now, has netted $35,703 playing for the Rams. That's the other side of taking it in Bitcoin.
It is. Hold.
Okay.
Hold. I think he'll be fine.
All right.
Merely a correction, David. Merely a correction.
But the problem is he signed a short-term deal. You can hold. You're in it for the long haul. He's in it for 9 weeks here.
Well, I'm guessing, I'm hoping he still has enough money to pay his taxes there from his previous Browns deal or whatever the case may be. But
So,
it is fascinating.
It's an interesting
It
story.
really
isn't it?
is.
We never hear about that part of it.
No, you always hear the other side because it's a lot more fun when everybody is making the money, not losing the money. Way more fun when everybody's winning, not
Yes.
losing with 13 seconds to go.
Winning is fun.
Yeah.
It is.
Like better than losing.
Much. And in the playoffs, it's amazing. Amazing. Chiefs now hosting their 4th straight AFC Championship game. Patriots never hosted 4 in a row. They played in 8 in a row, never hosted 4 in a row. The Bills, when they played in their 4 straight AFC Championship games, did not host all 4 games. They had to go to Miami for one of them. They hosted 90, 91, and 93. Not 92.
And the 49ers about to play in their 17th championship game.
Man, that's a lot.
One more than the Pittsburgh Steelers, 2 more than the New England Patriots, 3 more than Tom Brady. Brady and the Cowboys tied with 14 championship appearances.
That's right. Last week, we were like, man, he's going for his 15th.
15th.
So 14. 14 out of the last 21 years. He's played 22, but obviously his rookie year he hardly played. So he's made it to the conference championship game 2 out of every 3 years for the last 21 years.
Which is why you got to come back, Tom. You know you're going to the NFC Championship game, right? Hell, you're due.
Brady had been 14-2 in the divisional round before yesterday's loss to the Rams. But, you know, the NFL, like most pro leagues, Mark, copycat league, and the Rams are going for it. This is their 2nd trip to the NFC Championship game in 4 years. They've made the playoffs 4 out of the last 5 years. They've had a winning record all 5 years. The one year they didn't make the playoffs and went 9-7. Tell me again. You know, we'd all, of course, love a Patriots thing. What the Chiefs are doing here is incredibly impressive. They've basically had a 10-year run of nothing but winning seasons, basically. And now the 4 years, they've been great. But before that, they were good. So tell me again if you go all in and it's a 5 to 7 year thing and then we need to take a couple years to retool? How about if you sell that plan to about 20 fan bases? How many of them you think don't sign up for it? Now, you're telling me we're going to be good, right?
Right.
No. You're going to pay whatever price it is. We will be good. We're not going to be that baseball team that spends all that money and they're below 500. You're telling me we're going to be good, but the run may only be about 5-6 years, and we'll go as far as we can, and whatever happens, happens? Sign me up. Where's the paperwork? Like right now, a Dolph fan. Hell, look at Tampa.
Right.
That's what you're getting. And it ain't going to be 5-6 years either. It's going to be 2 or 3.
Right.
And they're like, absolutely.
Sign me up.
Right. And they would have signed up before last season.
Yes.
Knowing how it turned out. I mean, when he signed here, they said, great. Absolutely. We're all in. We know it's short. We don't care. No guarantee of winning. We got it.
Because there's not. You know, as I've got this whole thing of championship appearances in front of me, you've got these teams with 2 and 3 and 4 all time.
Right.
And I'm not talking about teams like Carolina that have been in the league for an hour and a half.
You know, obviously they're way too far away right now. But if Jacksonville actually gets their act together and Lawrence develops and it's 2-3 years from now, and we're like, wow, like where Cleveland is now. You mean to tell me right now you could walk up to a Browns fan and go, let me tell you something. This whole plan that we've got and what have you, yeah, we're ditching this. We're doing the Rams. We're doing the Rams. 5-6 years tops. Have no idea how it's going to end, but we are going for it. None of this slow, steady wins the race crap. Okay? We're going for it. You in? What do you think they'd say?
Trust me. You know, you mentioned Indianapolis as a sneaky spot for Mr. Rogers.
Especially since his best bud in the world, Pat McAfee, played for him. He's going to be lobbying him every day.
If Cleveland could do that, they'd send Baker out on a rail right now. You told Cleveland we're going to give you Aaron Rodgers for 2, maybe 3 years.
Right.
Right now.
Yeah.
What Browns fan isn't saying, sign me up? Because they think they're close. I know every fan base would say that. But the Dolphins aren't, in our estimation, close enough everywhere else. Maybe they're closer than we think they are. But the Browns have a roster that's close.
Yeah. Yeah. They think, wow.
You put that guy there.
Right. No, we can win.
Right now.
Right now. Yeah. Indianapolis.
Hey, Joe, why don't you wait a couple of years?
Yeah. Indianapolis, same way. And here's the other thing, and I know we got to take a break. You're an AFC team, and you watch what just took place this weekend, and you're like, we got to go up against those guys? How are we going to do anything in this conference going up against those guys? We got to get some firepower, man. I mean, the way the Niners are doing it, you got to admit it's the hardest way to go. And even the Niners did what? Said to Jimmy G, we're drafting the guy who's could, deliver us some stuff here. I mean, you're nice and all. You're a good-looking guy, and, you're competent, but we're getting rid of you as soon as we can. We gave up the farm for this Trey Lance kid from North Dakota State. We're getting rid of you as soon as we can. Jimmy, it's just too hard to win with you. We got to do better than you.
Might win a Super Bowl.
Right. Might be Trent Dilfer.
Right. 2 wins away from a Super Bowl, and they're going to cut him.
Yeah. Might be Trent Dilfer. Dilfer, they just released. They signed who was it? Gerbeck? Yeah, they signed
Right.
Elvis Gerbeck.
Elvis Gerbeck.
Right. Won the Super Bowl with Dilfer and got rid of him. Niners, whatever happens, we know they're trading Jimmy G. Just a matter of what they're going to get. 23 minutes before the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when. Final thoughts. Miller and Moulton. Bonus hour on the Florida Sports Network. The divisional round of the NFL playoffs, and DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL, still has huge cash prizes up for grabs.
This week, new customers can get on the game and play free for millions with their first deposit. There are only a few weeks of football left, so draft your squad now.
Playing daily fantasy football simple. Just pick your lineup of NFL stars, staying under the salary cap, and score enough points to bring home cash.
And with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes, you'll feel the action of the divisional round like never before.
DraftKings, safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want.
Download the DraftKings app now and use the promo code M&M to play free for millions. That's right. Enter promo code M&M to get a free shot at millions in total prizes with your first deposit. Get in the action for the divisional round only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL.
Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
And I said, and so we're talking. I said, hey, I go, that too. And she goes, no. She goes, there's a first floor unit like this that apparently sold for $460. So you're not that far out of line. She goes, I'm just telling you, freaked everybody out.
Right.
So this first person offered $420, which is what we were originally going to put it up for.
I think I know who that
So I
receiver
called
is,
one
by
of
the
the
way.
other realtors who I knew was interested. And I said,
I bet you it's Devontae Parker.
Called her back. She goes, can we go see it again? Sure. I called Bill. I said, hey, I want to go over at 4 and show it to someone again. And I had to go meet with him after because he was playing golf. And she came back with a full price offer.
Okay.
That man, Joe Brr.
It's like,
Quick question, because obviously I don't know the business. So if you ask X and get it, can you then turn to the people and go, you got to admit this is the first offer. If you wait 48 hours, we'll make it another one.
Bill and I talked about it. I've got 2 showings today. We don't have to answer the full-time offer until 5. We're going to turn down the 420. What I'm advised to him is to turn down the 420. We'll hold till 5. And I'm going to tell hey, we've got an offer. I've got a full price offer. I'm going to when you walk in, we have a full price offer on the table. I've got till 5 to decide.
Right.
Double check with Buck to make sure that that's proper,
Right.
proper etiquette and all that
Right.
stuff. But, and I probably wouldn't tell the client. I would probably tell the other realtor. It's like, just so you know,
Right.
I got a full price offer in my pocket.
Right. Now, do people bluff in this, or is it?
No, this is a sign. All I got to do.
No. I know you have it, but I'm just saying, do do people bluff? Do like people say, you know, hey, I got a full price offer when they don't? Or is that
I don't know. I would like. I'm sure, but I would never do that.
right? Like I just didn't know. Do you?
Yeah, I know.
Are you allowed to play poker? You know,
and a little bit, I think. Why, Johnny? Oh, what? Why are you so upset about this?
Johnny, there was a very funny tweet, and it was from Seth, in which he said, because when they passed that rule, we all laughed at one another and said, well, that's for Aaron Rodgers. And so once they lost Saturday night, Seth sent out a tweet that said, could the NFL go back to their old rules now?
I thought it was an anonymous receiver.
Who is it?
I bet you it's Devontae Parker.
Oh, so you didn't look at it?
It says it's a defensive player. What I read said. I don't know. I'm just saying that because poor Devontae Parker has wasted his career in Miami.
On this date, in
Hold on. I'm sorry. You think he's wasted his career? I think he stole money from the Dolphins.
Oh yeah, he stole.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but what I'm saying is he could have. Yeah.
Hold on. Just I want to do some show stuff here. No offense. Nick, did you see the tweet that Nick sent us? Tweet. Not Twitch. Tweet.
No.
He sent us a tweet that said, this day in 1950, the Rockwood Lodge in northern Wisconsin, owned by the Packers, mysteriously burns down. The team is awarded a $75,000 insurance check on the wreckage. The amount just so happened to be the exact amount needed to keep the team in Green Bay.
I'm sure it's a coincidence.
Yeah, he's older now. CB, like imagine Devontae Parker on the Packers. He's talented, is what I'm saying. All right, 15 seconds.
Well, not only that, he hasn't stayed healthy.
That too, yeah.
And he's not available. I mean, you can't stay with a guy who's not available.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
17 minutes before the hour. We're running late, so let's get right to it here on Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Leave it to the oldest guy in the show, and definitely the oldest soul to live in the past. Here's David Moulton with Today Was the Day When...
And we go all the way back to 1848, Mark, where James Marshall is credited with beginning the gold rush. He finds gold in Sutter's Mill in Kelowna, California, and the word eventually spreads. 1908, Robert Baden-Powell publishes a manual for outdoor skills. The title of the manual, Scouting for Boys. What do you think came of that manual? Exactly.
The Girl Scouts?
The first canned beer was sold in America in 1935. It was Kruger's Cream Ale. It was a brewery company in Newark, New Jersey. They were out of business by 61. 1943, there were a few key moments in World War II. This was one of them. Hitler ordered his troops at Stalingrad to fight to the death. And the Russians said, "Are you sure about that?" Okay. The winters here get pretty bad, and we got a lot more of us than you. You sure you want to do this? Because if so, this whole war is going to change, just letting you know. And it did, thankfully. It was on this day, Mark, in 1947, ironically. What if we talked about our poll question? Should we change overtime rules in the playoffs? It was on this date, 1947, the NFL added sudden death in the playoffs. Now, I don't think it ever came into effect until that infamous 58 title game. But 1947, they decided to make sudden death. 1952, first NFL team in Texas, the Dallas Texans. A few weeks ago, we said the New York Yankees moved to Dallas, so there you go. 1962, Jackie Robinson on this date elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Obviously, he was the first black elected to the Hall of Fame. Bob Fellero, by the way, also elected on this date 60 years ago. Mark, we have referenced this fight before. George Foreman, Ron Lyle on this date, 1976. Foreman had knocked Lyle down in the first 3 rounds. Lyle knocks Foreman down twice in the 4th. Foreman gets up and KOs Lyle in the 5th. So think about it. The fight is January 24th of 76. It ends up being the 76th fight of the year, when boxing was still a big deal. Mark, you remember this day. 40 years ago, Super Bowl 16 in Detroit.
Ooh.
The start of the Niners dynasty.
Right.
Beat the Bengals 26-21. You had what? The
ice storm.
Ice storm. Vice President Bush caused a big traffic delay because of the Secret Service and the motorcade, and people were late to the game. Madden sat on the headset, introduced the spare headset, the whole deal. 1984, Apple unveiled this thing called the Macintosh personal computer. Seemed to change the world. 1999, David Duval, Eagles 18, shoots a 59 to win the Bob Hope Desert Classic. At the time, just the 3rd 59 in golf history.
This is the last of the named tournaments.
The Hope,
the Crosby, the Glenn Campbell. I mean, Sammy Davis had one for a
in
while.
Hartford,
The Hartford, right?
Jackie Gleason had one for a long time.
That was the LA Open.
The Ice Palace, by the way, in Tampa, hosted the NHL All-Star Game on this date in 99. Gretzky, in his final year, was MVP.
Was at the game. Wayne had one shift where he was Wayne again, because it was an old Wayne Gretzky.
Oh, it was his final year. He hadn't announced his retirement yet, but it turned out to be his last year.
But there was one shift where he just, in an all-star game, just took over and got a standing O. It was the coolest thing I'd ever seen in hockey.
2011, Adele released her second album, 21. Heard she had her heart.
She did pretty good.
I heard she had her heart broken, though. 2018, Larry Nassar found guilty of molesting over 150 girls and women on this date 4 years ago. And it was a year ago today that Tom Brady and the Bucks went into Lambeau and beat the Packers to win the NFC Championship. And that was today was the day when Jack Brickhouse, famed broadcaster, born on this date in 1916. John Belushi, born on this date. He would have been 73 years old today. Warren Zevon, Mark, would have been 75 today. Birthdays for today. Henry Ruggs, only 23. Talk about a tragic life there. Luis Suarez, the soccer player, is 35. Rob Dibbles, 58. Aaron Neville's 81, as is Neil Diamond. Thank you very much. Tristan Wirfs of the Bucks turns 23 today, Mark, and that is today was the day.
Which will lead us seamlessly to...
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good, Debbie and Alan Legg saw the tornadoes here in Southwest Florida. They own a food truck, Sweet Magnolias. They went right to where the tornadoes had hit, served 100 meals to people who needed them. Great job by Debbie and Alan. So if you ever see the Sweet Magnolias food truck, why don't you stop and give them some business? They deserve it. This is actually a good that could have been a bad, and I had to include both good stories today because Laura Spears lives in the Detroit area, and she was going through her email spam folder, She had purchased a ticket, a Mega Millions tickets, and matched 5 numbers. And, well, she had to check her spam folder to find out that she won $3 million.
Good thing she checked.
Nearly did not get the prize. That leads us to the ugly. How the hell does a $3 million go to a spam account?
I know.
Finally, the ugly. Deanna Stinson has pleaded guilty, and she will spend some time in jail. She tried to use Bitcoin. I don't know who she got it from or where she was trying to get her Bitcoin, but she needed her ex-husband's spouse gone and tried to order the hit in Bitcoin. She was busted. She's in jail, and everybody that should be alive is. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, January the 24th, 2022.
Little NBA, little NHL, little college hoop. None of it earth-shattering. A decent Big 12 game on ESPN at 9 o'clock. Kansas hosting Texas Tech. For those fans of Andy Enfield, USC on ESPN tonight at 11. NHL, by the way, no NHL games canceled tonight.
That's a first.
Yeah, 7 scheduled, and they're going to go off. Neither Florida's team is in action. And none of the games are, unless you consider NHL Network nationally televised. That's got Vegas and Washington. Probably the best game of the night. NBA, only 4 games, Mark, and only one of them on NBA TV. And that's Utah at Phoenix at 9 o'clock tonight. I will say the new look Cavs are playing the Knicks at 7. Cleveland's fun. Nice to see a young team, a franchise down and out. And nice to see you put a bunch of young guys together and they actually, kind of like the Bengals, be honest with you. It's like, hey, all of a sudden we're good enough to win.
And I really appreciate the PSAs that you give people to let them know that the NBA, the NHL, and college basketball are all still going on, because you're going to have to start watching it now.
Right.
We're down to 3, everybody. 3.
4 teams, 3 games. That's it. Come on now. It's January 24th. Get with the program.
I doubled up. I had a noon hockey game and a little Big Ten basketball going yesterday afternoon before football, David.
Look at you.
Purdue and Northwestern, and then a little Penn's Jets.
It so funny. So I was paying attention, obviously. Kentucky was at Auburn on Saturday, and it was a huge deal at Auburn. I mean, the thousands of students camped out overnight, and the place was absolutely packed. I'll give them a lot of credit, by the way. They beat Kentucky at home and did not storm the court.
Thank you.
Good. I mean, you don't think of the Auburn basketball fan as this sophisticated fan base, and they're number 2 in the country, and they beat Kentucky,
which is the gold standard, obviously, in the SEC. You beat them, you generally rush the court.
And the fans were like, yeah, we're good. We win at basketball, especially with Bruce Pearl here.
Now, if Georgia would have beaten Kentucky, they might have.
They'd still be on the court in Athens.
But, and Michigan had a nice win, whooping up on Indiana, and Michigan's really struggled.
Yes, they have. Said we'll be curious to see these big conferences, and we'll start getting into bids and start looking ahead to who's in the field and all that. But remember, at the beginning of the year, the Big Ten was going to be the conference, and it's not. And so now you start figuring out, well, okay, where do we draw the line as to who's in?
100%. And Michigan's a team that seems like they're pretty bubblicious right now.
Right. And considering they were like preseason top 5.
Right.
Yeah. How funny would that be? The basketball team doesn't make the tournament, and the football team, who was unranked, made the playoff. A trade, by the way, the Michigan fan would
gladly take.
Right.
Hopefully Harbaugh can get to the NFL soon.
Supposedly the Raiders' job is there if he wants it, which, of course, begs the question, then why hasn't it happened yet? Job's been open for a week. How long does it take to say yes?
Jim, I said Florida. I said Florida, not Nevada.
Broncos, by the way, apparently down to 3 candidates. Dan Quinn is one of the 3, and he is the heavy favorite to get the offer. Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us here on the Florida Sports Network.
The Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, roars through the streets of beautiful downtown St. Petersburg, February 25th to the 27th.